There we go. What's up, fam? It's your man, Mark Black. Hey, y'all know what time it is. Welcome. Welcome to Sucka-Free Saturday. It is good to have all of you. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Sister Lisa for the love right out the gate. Thank you, sister, for the love. I appreciate you. By the way, shout out to all my supporting members. You know who you are. I see that things look right on my side. Can y'all hear me? Pop a 1 in the chat. Let me know what's going on. Can y'all hear me at this point, fam? Let me know, fam, if y'all can hear me. What up? Gorilla Witch is in the house. Long time no see, fam. Good, good. All right. Hey, fam, again, thank you all for sharing your Saturday with your man. We got a lot to talk about. I want to make sure that we can do calls. So I've got the number up on the screen. I'm going to take it down, but I'd like one of y'all to just volunteer to give me a call. Help me test the audio, make sure that I'm able to take calls because I want to hear from y'all today too. So the number is 360-602-2667. Just drop me a call real quick. Anybody, I don't care. You could just call and say what's up. You can call and say fuck you, Mark Black. I don't care what it is, but just give me a holler real quick and then we're going to get into it and we'll open it up and take some calls. 360-602-2667. Let me make sure that I can take the calls that are coming in. But fam, yeah, we got quite a bit to talk about because there's been a lot of shit that's gone on. Let me check something here. Refresh this shit. Okay, try it now and let's see what's going on. Go ahead and give me one more try. 360-602-2667. Damn. Okay, that one went to voicemail. Not certain what the fuck is going on. That's okay. Oh, there we go. Yo, it's your man Mark Black. Thanks for calling in. Holler at us so real quick so I can see if I can hear you.
What's up, man? It's your man Roll from the 860. You know I had to be the first on the dial for
That's
you,
my man. That's my man. Hey,
on the top of the new year for you.
Happy New Year to all of you, man. I'm serious. Like I brought in the new year. I don't know if you watched my New Year's broadcast, but I was up with everybody from East Coast all the way to the West Side. It was dope. But yeah, man, I'm gonna ask you to call back in later, right? Because I'm just gonna jump right into the topics.
You know my hands on the trigger.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So I fully expect you to call back in, fam, and I appreciate you helping me test this out so we can have us a damn good one today.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. I've been waiting for you.
My man, I appreciate you. Well, hey, let's get to it. It's time to do work. So, fam, with that having been taken care of, by the way, gorgeous Gorilla Witch, thank you, man, for the love. I appreciate you. Let us first start off with the obvious, right? Last Wednesday, we saw what some are calling an insurgency, some are calling an attempted coup, some are calling a riot. But we saw last Wednesday Trump supporters raid the Capitol building. And with all the evidence that's coming out, it looks like that there was attempts to maybe take hostages and all sorts of other shit. Motherfuckers got killed, the whole 9 yards, right? Like, this was no joke. And I'm not going to make any light of it. Matter of fact, I feel like that we need to discuss this because there were some issues that I noticed right from the get-go that I feel like we need to talk about. Thank you, Engaging Black Man. I appreciate the love, fam, and I appreciate you. I'm going to let your comment read out as per usual. So I want to talk about what I just call the incident, And there's a reason why I'm using such specific language.
Showing love, fam. Thank you. You are needed.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate you. The reason why I'm calling it the incident is because for everybody that called it a riot, for everybody that called it an insurgency, for everybody that called it an attempted coup, I'm here to tell you that all of you, for once, were right. It was a riot. And it was a riot fomented, egged on by motherfuckers like Ted Cruz, Hawley, right? Congressman Hawley, Donald Trump, Giuliani, and so on and so forth, right? So yeah, it was definitely a riot. These motherfuckers went up there and said, fuck the law, fuck your house, we doing whatever we want to do, all right? For those of you who said that it was an insurgency, you're correct, partially. You're correct in that what happened last Wednesday does represent an insurgency. You're incorrect that what happened last Wednesday was the beginning of the insurgency. The fact is that there has been an insurgency in America for the last 150 years. There's been an insurgency in the United States. No, as a matter of fact, let's see, from 1866, like 180 years almost, right? The insurgency started when Andrew Jackson and Abraham Lincoln, instead of lining up the traitors of the Confederacy against the nearest wall and blowing their motherfucking brains out, or lining them up at gallows and marching them up the stairs and putting ropes around their necks until they were dead, issued them pardons. And those traitors and the children of the traitors are an insurgency that Black Americans have been facing first, but now everyone else in America are going to be required to come to grips with.
What about that black guy leading the way?
I actually am familiar with Ali Alexander. And Ali Alexander is a useful tool. Not to mention the fact that Ali Alexander is a grifter in and of his own right. Right? So I got no sympathy for Ali Alexander. He knew what he was getting into when he was fucking around with this whole alt-right bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at the evidence behind Ali Alexander, he was a willing participant. He wasn't used. He wasn't a useful dummy. He was involved because he was grifting and, to a certain extent, became a true believer. He got high off his own bullshit. And now he's dry snitching like a motherfucker, because if he don't, it's likely that he's gonna get pinned with the whole shit. Right? So Ali Alexander and all these other black faces like John Sullivan and so on and so forth, they knew what the fuck they was getting into. Whatever happens to them, happens to them. But I'm jumping ahead a little bit, right? Because for those of you who believe that this is an insurgency, you're absolutely right. Except that this insurgency has been continually pardoned by America since Reconstruction. This insurgency, thank you, gorgeous. I've always been a student of history. This insurgency has been the same insurgency that we have had to fight and struggle and bleed and die at the hands of since Reconstruction. Currently, I don't think they have caught Ali Alexander. I know he's been in hiding. I don't know where the fuck he is. And even if I did know, I wouldn't tell anybody. Because therein lies another issue. For those of you who thought that this was an attempted coup, you're absolutely right. This was an attempt to take over the government through extra legal means, which by the very definition of such is a coup. Now, was it a botched, completely doomed to failure, absolutely asinine, bass-ackwards attempt at a coup? Oh, most definitely. But fam, therein lies the problem. Coup attempts have a funny way of getting better and better the more they're attempted. Right? This one was kind of hodgepodge, willy-nilly, right? This one was organic, if you will. There was no real attempt, or at least apparent attempt, to take over any other portion of the government, right? Nobody made any moves on, say, the FBI headquarters, the CIA headquarters. They didn't make moves on the media outlets there in DC at the same time they were pushing up on the Capitol. You know, like the coups that we fomented all over the world happened. But make no mistake about it, their attempts to get their hands on representatives of the government definitively means that this bled over into coup territory. Now, we can understand all of this. But like Gorgeous Gorilla has just said, what the hell does this mean for us? Well, this means two things in my humble analysis. Number one, as Gorgeous said here again, they can't do nothing but get extreme at this point. With the censoring of these people from various platforms, they're going to go underground as best they can for now. But whatever you push underground, eventually is going to pop up through the soil and come to light. Only their time underground will give them the capability of developing the infrastructure and the resources needed to support whatever their goals, aims, and efforts are moving forward. And number two, what's old is new again, family.
When they open a white identity extremist police force, I will be one of the first to ready to serve my people and ancestors.
I feel that shit, Engaging Black. I hear you. Because what's old is new again. Do you remember, family, what happened to our ancestors after the compromise with Rutherford B. Hayes and the compromise of 1877? When the federal troops moved out of the South and basically left our ancestors in the hands of the motherfuckers that have brutalized us for 246 years. Do you remember the introduction of the black codes, of debt peonage, convict leasing, sharecropping? That was able to occur because we did not flat out destroy the traitors. Sister Tiffany said this is treason, and I agree. As a citizen of this country, as a veteran and a servant of this country, I would have no problem with any participant in that event being dragged out of their homes and locked away in a deep, dark hole. But my reasons why I would desire that are not the same as many of yours. You see, fam, one thing that I noticed right away in the reporting of this incident in the Capitol was the overwhelming exclamations from our people that had this been us. You know what? Actually, that reminds me. I didn't say what's up to everybody. Let me shout out to Code Ref, Sister Strongflower, Darker Visions, Sister Lisa. Thank you for the love. I appreciate you. Engaging Black. Love you, fam. Sister Alma, Brother Monty, Sister Tiffany. Maiden Dade is back in the house. I see you. Gorgeous. Shout out to you. Much love. The Cool Man fam. Love you. Lionel Riley, what's good, bro? What's good? Big Uncle's in the house. Brother Noel, good to see you, fam. So I just wanted to shout out everybody before we continue. The overwhelming response by us was that had that been us, shout out to you, by the way, Mr. Heat, welcome to the broadcast, fam, was that, look at these crackers. If that had been us, they'd have killed us. By the way, shout out to my beloved sister, Miss Kawami, too, as well. Fam, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say to you that that statement isn't the flex you think it is. Because while it may be true, everything matters with context. Do you understand where I'm coming from, fam? Context is key. Shout out to Poro, by the way. Poro Productions. What's good, fam? I see you. And yes, fam, Noel is mentioning there's these twin toddlers, these little brothers that have been kidnapped in California City, in that area. If you're familiar with that, or if you know anything about that, please reach out to Noel. It's like, Noel, pop your Twitter handle in the chat so that people know how to reach you on Twitter, because that's where I mainly contact you with, right? But if y'all have any information to help us find these baby boys, please reach out to Noel. Noel stays on top of this type of shit, and we need to get these boys home to their family. All right. By the way, shout out to my esteemed brother Art. I see you, fam. Salute. Sister Joan, much love to you, sister. Peace. It is true that had Black Americans went up into the Capitol, broke down the doors, busted in, that they would have used every amount of force possible to dislodge us. That is true. But have you ever asked yourselves why that's true, fam? I know you think you already know the answer. It's because we niggas, right? Thus always to niggas in America, right? If we stand up, do anything, they kill us. So I'll lay you 10 to 1 that you have not asked yourself why. By the way, shout out to Cool Unc. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm going to humbly, in my opinion, share with you today why that's true and why us saying that in every one of these instances is not the flex that we think it is. I'm going to let Engaging Black's statement read out.
I want a white man crime bill written by Jim Crow Biden's old dead white hands. Facts. I want a police force and jail just for them.
Facts. I'm with that too. By the way, shout out to my beloved sister Sherry. Welcome. Welcome. In my humble opinion, fam, I'm going to share with you a tale of two cities, right? A series of contrasts. When these aggrieved white citizens rolled up on the Capitol. They were bearing flags. I don't know if any of you watched the videos, but those flag poles that they carry, at the end, they have spear points on them. It's an old tactic of theirs. It's a way of being able to bear arms without necessarily carrying like a firearm. But in case you were wondering, there were plenty of firearms there in the hands of those aggrieved white citizens and their pets at the Capitol that day too as well. Plenty of firearms. You couldn't look around to your right or to your left without seeing an AR.
Hey my good brother, hope you're good. Sorry I'm late.
Fam, you always right on time, and glad to have you, fam. Welcome back. When these motherfuckers move, they moved armed to the teeth. These motherfuckers beat a cop to death. I need for you to understand what I'm saying. They took a police officer, knocked him down, and beat his ass to death. Now, juxtapose that to a gathering of our people. We would stand on the stairs of the Capitol, some of us chanting, some of us singing, some of us twerking. And we would wait for the motherfuckers with guns to show up. Thank you, Sister Sherry. I appreciate you. And when they showed up with the guns and the tear gas and the rubber bullets and so on and so forth, we gladly stand out there as target practice to help the police officers get better at their brutalization. Fam, the reason why they kill you isn't because you niggas. That helps. The reason why they kill you is because they know they can kill you. They can do whatever they like to us whenever we gather to address any grievances, to have any issues addressed, and so on and so forth. Wherever we gather, they know that they're safe. Fam, there's an old saying, an old adage, that politics is simply war by other means. Politics is war by other means. They even call your vote a ballot.
No more Blue Lives Matter Talk 2021 # lock them up too.
Facts. They call your vote a ballot. Only one letter difference between ballot and bullet. In case you were wondering, BALLOT, or 2 letters, sorry, and BULLET. All ballots are paper bullets. Ballots are a way of saying that if we had a war over this issue today, we have enough motherfuckers on our side that we would wipe you out. So it's best that you just go ahead and acquiesce to what we want. Seriously, I'm not making this up. I'm not joking. Politics is literally war using words and paper. But the same goals, the same outcomes, the same things that you desire in war is what you're aiming for in politics. We, as the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States, who are finally organized around our shared lineage, our shared heritage, our shared culture, and our shared experience, have finally twigged that the only way we're going to get what we want politically is to fight for it, to demand it. By the way, shout out to His Royal Majesty Black Grinder the First and Anhur Akachi. I see you, fam. What's good? We have finally, at least some of us, have started to wake up to the fact that we need to treat politics just like we would if bullets were flying up and down range. Meaning that organization is key, movement and strategy is key, and putting our bullets, our efforts, where they bear the most effect is key to victory. Don't worry, fam. What I'm saying right now is going to tie into another portion of what we're going to talk about today. They kill you and I because they know that we will talk all day long. But we never get to a point where we say, you know what? Damn the talking. Break out the steel. You can feel whatever kind of way you want to feel about what happened on Wednesday at the Capitol. If you're a patriotic person, you will look at it as treason, and I think you're right. These were some treasonous motherfuckers. But we already know that America has a tendency to forgive traitors. Abraham Lincoln did it, Andrew Jackson did it, and now Jim Crow Joe Biden will forgive these traitors. Sure, they'll make an example of some of them because they embarrassed the government, right? They're not really upset about the fact that these motherfuckers literally came up in there and tried to turn the whole nation around. By the way, shout out to my beloved sister, August Dream Shalom, sister, to you. I'm going to let your comment read out, as well as yours, Double C.
Shalom blessings, Mark and chatroom. Passing through to show my support to the Black Sheep family.
Shalom,
Purple
sister.
Heart,
I appreciate you.
Heart.
Appreciate you.
Those WS terrorists didn't breach the Capitol, they were invited in. Funny, there was minimum security for them. But October 16, 1995, they were watched.
Let me tell you something, fam. We, your black media, have been telling you over and over again that there has been report after report by the federal government that indicated the infiltration of law enforcement agencies all throughout the country with white supremacists. This isn't even a secret at this point. Like, anybody with Google in 2 minutes could have discovered the truth on this particular matter. And now we find out that Congress people are giving guided tours, even when tours aren't available to the public, through the Capitol building for reconnaissance. Fam, but I need you to understand one important thing. The treason, the rot, goes all the way to the top. We already know that, right? We already knew that Trump and everybody else was willing to do this. By the way, family, shout out and give your love to the esteemed elder brother, BGS Ibmore, who is always welcome and in the house. Thank you, brother, for showing up today. I hope you dropped some gems in the chat, and I hope this broadcast is worthy, because you actually inspired me, believe it or not, brother, to do this broadcast. Because, fam, I got an admission to make. Like every other human being, when I feel something, I have a tendency to get off my square. right? Feelings move you. They're like rocket fuel. But just like rocket fuel, it has to be directed through a nozzle in order to be effective. And if I do not utilize my feelings to direct me to understand truly the dynamics of any given situation, even your man Mark Black is prone to spout off some bullshit. Which is why I demand that my family, that you, my people, check me and help keep me on the straight way. And so I want to thank my brother BGS for always doing that for me. That being said, fam, these folk, you have to understand that none of them are ready to end what we know. So this wasn't a revolution. They'll use these white supremacists and all these right-wing nut jobs, this, that, and the third will use terms like revolution. But the fact is that they didn't want a revolution. Because wise ones, elders of ours, remind us of one important thing. And this is going to lead to the part that I really want to address. Is that as long as we have no alternatives built, we are all dependent upon the matrix. We sit here, they sit here, and we talk all this shit about the government this, the government that, the government this, the government that, and we're all correct. So why then are we not working our asses off to build the alternatives, to build Zion? To use the same metaphor, we sit here and bitch about the nature, the state of the matrix, but we are all chained into it. We all got the plug in the back of our heads. And those of us who are fortunate enough, who have been given the grace to understand that we are truly trapped within this motherfucker, sit here and debate about our relative positions within the matrix rather than developing the infrastructures, the Zion, so that we can free ourselves and escape with as many people such as willing to go. My elder brother BGS reminded me that reality don't give a fuck about your feelings. They are not free. We are not free. But I cannot waste my time being concerned about their freedom. I can only be concerned about ours. But we cannot be free until we understand the reality of our circumstances. Period, point blank, to end. And not only understand the reality of our circumstances, but are willing to do what is necessary by any means to address the fact that we depend upon the matrix. I will give you a case in point. Recently, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, well, I don't know what the fuck you've been doing. Recently on Twitter, there's been some shit going on as regards the hashtag movement. I'm not even going to use the hashtag on the broadcast. So can't nobody come on and say that I'm doing some bullshit. And I'm not going to be heated when I discuss this. I'm simply just going to lay out facts as I understand them. But the hashtag movement has been going in on quite a few folk. And of course, shots are being fired back. Now, why is this important? Why are we even going to discuss the hashtag movement again? Because this right here is a key example of reality kicking you motherfuckers in the ass. As all of you know, I have been a staunch supporter of the hashtag movement from its inception. I was a part of what the hashtag movement wanted to do, even before it became a hashtag. I helped make it a hashtag along with many others. I'm not taking no credit. I'm not trying to big myself up. I'm not trying to sabotage anybody. I'm not trying to belittle anybody. I was a part of the beginning of the hashtag movement. I was there for Politics 101. So nobody gets to doubt my loyalty, gets to doubt my bona fides. I was there from the beginning. I was there before it ever became a hashtag on any social media anywhere. And I have watched as the people who are the founders. Fam, I'll be honest with you. The hubris, the absolute hubris of claiming to have founded something, right? As if there was no other push ever for reparations, for our justice claim. This is not to say you can't come in and innovate. This is not to say that you don't deserve your flowers for the work you do, but the sheer hubris of allowing people who wish to lionize you to be called the founders boggles my mind, to be quite honest. But I have watched as the founders have botched, boondoggled, flubbed, flipped-flopped their way to literal irrelevance. And I've been on that train the whole motherfucking time. I've watched a movement with the core tenet of being grounded in the data, right? Because like my elder brother BGS reminded me recently, reality doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. Ground yourself in the data and you cannot be moved. I have watched as a movement that had the key tenet of being grounded in the data, of taking one advocate and making two advocates and making four advocates and making 10 advocates, turn into an insular, circle jerking echo chamber of absolute irrelevance. I have watched good people with willing hearts, open minds, who with sometimes little or next to nothing, willing to devote even the little they have to the furtherance of one goal. I have never seen that shit before as a black man in America, as a black American man. I have never once before in my life seen a group of people from different classes, different sexual orientations, different everything, different religions, different everything, united around one goal, one purpose: the uplift, the honoring, and the payment of the debt due our ancestors and us who walk in their shoes. They're beneficiaries. I've never seen it. And that power that was harnessed, that capability to take us finally and move us where we need to go, has been squandered on bullshit accusations, slander, purity purges, on lionization and hero creation and hero worship, on partisanship, on lies. I have watched this movement become a movement anchored not in the data, anchored not in reality, anchored not in the truth of our circumstances and our situations, anchored not in claiming the name and bringing us together and unifying us under one banner, the banner of justice for us as a tribe in this motherfucker. I've watched it devolve into madness. I've watched people whose efforts came out of their own love and reverence for our ancestors and the struggles and the trials and the travails that they went through, be threatened to be completely wiped away from the board. Thank you, gorgeous. I appreciate the love. And who did it? Who's responsible for the travesty that is currently the state of the hashtag movement? Because some will say it's us no good niggas and our lousy fucking questions. You know, our desire, our need to actually understand this shit and make sense. They would blame us for it. They would say, well, if you hadn't came out publicly in your decrying of the strategy of Democratic down ballot, we'd actually be somewhere. If you weren't always attacking the founders, we could get stuff done. I'm going to tell you something, fam, that I've never said. I have never said this in the whole time that I've been affiliated or a part of or even aligned with loosely the hashtag movement. You know who's responsible for this travesty that the hashtag movement is in? I am. And you are. I could sit here and spend the next 2 hours blaming Yvette and Tone for a lot of dumb fucking shit. Because trust me, I don't give a fuck how much of a partisan you are of theirs. Their strategies have been demonstrably ineffective. I'm not talking about what you feel. I'm not talking about how good you felt when you wrote ADOS on your ballot. It is clear that they failed. These motherfuckers are not political paragons of understanding and insight and influence. I had zero issue with down ballot as a strategy. I still have zero issue with down ballot as a strategy. As a matter of fact, I think under certain circumstances, under certain situations, voting down ballot is a great goddamn strategy, except for one goddamn thing. And the one thing you would think these stunning political minds would understand is that to tie a down ballot strategy to the same party that has legit had its boots on our neck for the last 60 years is never going to be a winning strategy. To sit here and tell us who are the victims of the Democrats, I don't give a shit what you say. We have been the victims of Democrats. That is not to say that the Republicans are any better. That is not to say that I'm a Republican. That is simply to say a fact. Because multiple things can be true at the same time. It is the truth that maybe the Republicans don't have much to offer black folk. That's true. But it is also true that we have been raped by the Democrats. Our communities have been democratically loyal, a captive voting bloc for decades. And our communities look like shit. Our communities are not safe. Our schools are decimated. We're occupied by internal paramilitary forces and so on and so forth. For you to claim any degree of political insight astuteness and tie our political fortunes in any way to the Democrats, I'm going to be generous and say that belies your claims of astuteness. That the very advocacy of that belies your claims of political insight and astuteness. If I were to be not so generous, I would say that you were absolutely fucking clueless. It was demonstrably a bad strategy. Not only did it alienate tons of people that were perfectly willing to devote everything to this effort, but more importantly, fam, it was clear from the beginning that it was a failure strat. It was absolutely a failing strat. So we vote down ballot. What was the plan for voting down ballot, right? And I'm not even talking about Democratic down ballot, because I have a whole host of fucking issues with the fact that you continue to tie our political fortunes to your beloved sainted Democrats. Are you fucking mad? I would really truly like to ask Yvette and Tone, even though I know I won't get an answer because I finally managed to be blocked by Yvette. And I've been blocked by Tone, so I don't care, right? It doesn't bother me. But I would truly, if I knew for a certainty I could get a goddamn answer out of them, I would truly ask them, what the hell were you thinking when you sat there at the ADOS conference in October 2019, or what? No, in October 2018, and told us down ballot, and here come Tone Peanut head ass, down ballot Democrat. Really? All this study, all this harnessing of political capital, all this harnessing. Thank you, Pretty Muslima. By the way, shout out to my beloved, esteemed sister, Pretty Muslima. I'm so glad to see you today. Welcome to the broadcast. All of this book clubs and all this other shit, all the harnessing, the gathering of the tribe, and the best you could come up with was that bullshit? Methinks that you are not the political animals that we all thought you were. And at that point, any thinking, rational member of our tribe started to ask questions. But here's the rub. You can't ask questions in the hashtag movement. Too many questions leads to you being purged by the true believers. But yet they take umbrage with the appellation of cult being laid upon them. But look at the evidence. Fam, I never, ever want you to sit here and say Mark Black is in his feelings. Mark Black is just talking out his ass. No, let us look at the evidence. What is a cult? How do cults operate? Well, first of all, cults, the very first thing to do is they try to get you to buy into something larger than yourself. Well, that's not hard with the hashtag movement, a connection to our ancestors that we never picked up and claimed, which actually turns out to be one of the greatest weapons we've ever had access to as a people. This isn't hard at all. And then the love bombing, right? Now that you member of the tribe, it's all love, right? It's all love. What up, fam? It's all love, right? What are some other aspects of cults? Cults always have a leader. And I don't mean a leader in the sense of someone who everybody looked at and saw their facility at handling a particular situation or circumstance or something like that and simply acquiesced or chose them to be leader. No. there has been no votes. There have been no plebiscites. There have been nothing asking me as a member, as a supporter of the hashtag movement, who I would like to see lead it. Pop a 1 in the chat if you're a member of the hashtag movement, no shade. Pop a 1 in the chat if you've ever been asked whether or not you're okay with who leads it. For any reason. I'm not going to sit here and shade you and say, oh, you're sexist because you just don't like to see a woman lead nothing and this, that, and the third. Nobody was asked. And at first it really didn't matter because our love for these individuals was like, you know what? Fuck it. Somebody got to lead this motherfucker. Right? And they brought us the tool. They brought us the weapon. Sure, why not? Let them have their shot. But there was never a plebiscite. There was never any goddamn democracy, any vote. Nobody had a say in whether or not Antonio leads shit or Yvette leads shit or they lead it together or any goddamn thing else. And if you really want to tell the truth, to shame the devil, some of y'all fuck with one of them and some of y'all fuck with another one, but you don't fuck with them both. Yeah, I said it. There's some of y'all that are Yvette partisans. But when you think ain't nobody paying attention, you talk shit about tone. You'll go off if somebody says something about Yvette. But if somebody says something about Tone being a Nimmy-nominated producer or making fun of him or something sort of shit, you kind of kiki in the background. Or you might be a Tone partisan, but maybe you can't fuck with Yvette because she a lesbian or whatever your fucking reasons are. So even within the so-called ADOS, I'm sorry, I promise I wouldn't use the hashtag, between even partisans of the ADOS hashtag movement, right? I'm talking about this for a reason, gorgeous, because as a soldier, one thing to note is this. Things either are efficacious, they either move the mission forward, or they do not. And moving forward, I'm letting all of you know that as a soldier, I see what's going on, and I am watching. And I will note, if you are either moving forward and being effective and actually demonstrably doing something, those who have boots on the ground or those who are effective advocates, those who are looking to mint more leaders, or if you just riding on the coattails of a people that already are getting robbed by everybody. Because for all the accusations of grift, all the accusations of people getting over and this, that, and the third because of their alliance or support of the hashtag movement, of which, by the way, I've been accused of being a grifter. Let me share with you, fam, some information I probably have never shared with you. When I first started this channel, people like Brother BGS and those who have been with me from the beginning know that I been on board wholeheartedly with the hashtag movement, right? I used to be kind of like Malcolm X. I'd be like, Yvette and Tone said thus and so, right? And not only that, but I was committed from the beginning for never taking anything from you, but adding to you. That has been my commitment ever since I started this channel. I don't want to take anything from you. I want to have dialogue and, if need be, a trade with you. So I offered a cup that I had custom made. And this cup, matter of fact, I think I still have one. Stand by. Thank you, family. I appreciate your patience. Here it is right here. Y'all, anybody recognize that logo? That was the first iteration of the Black Sheep logo. That was the one I made myself. Shout out to Jason Argonate for the logo, because I don't have no art skills. But this is what the cup said on the other side. And I'll read it to you. It says hashtag and the hashtag. And it says, it is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself up by his bootstraps. Quote from Martin Luther King. And then I came up with this bottom part. This is what I was in the fight for. This is what I'm in the fight for. Remediation, restoration, and repair. I offered that as a product to people who desired to support my efforts at advocacy. I told people, I recognize my audience. We ain't all rich, right? If you can't call it, I'm still going to do for you what I came here to do for you, because I came here to be an advocate, to be a voice, to give inspiration, education, and uplift. I'm going to do that even if nobody bought a cup. But if you feel like you want to support your brother, buy a cup. I also had a t-shirt made, custom made, with the same logo on the front and the same statement on the back. Big grifter me. Yvette and Antonio saw that people were developing products. Because we a tribe, we claiming the name, right? We're having a gathering of the people. And when we have that, people want to have that recognized. They want to have an outward show of that, an outward show of their interconnection of allegiance to the tribe. Thus, people want a t-shirt. People want a hat. People want a cup. People want a fucking sticker, a pin. We just want something so that when we see somebody else wearing the same goddamn thing, we be like, what up, tribes person? What up, tribesman, tribeswoman? What up, brother? What up, sister? I see you. Right? When Yvette and Tone finally figured out, and I don't know how they didn't know that people would want this, you know, being so astute and in tune with our tribe needs and all, finally said, hey, we're going to develop our own shit. Tone hit me up on Twitter and specifically told me that I didn't need to sell no shirts no more, because him and Yvette were going to sell shirts. Do you know what I did, fam? Do you want to know what I did? Because a lot of y'all probably thinking, oh, man, I know Brother Black went ham on that nigga on some real nigga shit. Nope. I immediately took down any of my merchandise that utilized the hashtag or anything else. I gave away. Like I said, don't nobody get to question my bona fides. I'm supposed to be a grifter, but I gave up my opportunity to grift, so that any resources, efforts, and so on and so forth could be directed at Yvette and Antonio. I'm using ADOS to bump up my subscriber numbers. Like, that's so fucking great. You don't make big money off of having 1,000 people watch your video. You make money off of people buying merchandise or contributing via super chat and things like that. And I don't know about y'all, because I love my family, but y'all not, you know, popping in my chat with big amounts of money. And I'm okay with that. I had no problem with that. Like I've always told y'all, I know my audience. If you can call it, call it. If not, your brother loves you anyway. Thank you for just giving me your eyeballs, your time, and your hearts. Isn't that my thing, Black Sheep? Papa one in the chat. That's Mark Black's thing. You feel me? I fell back. I, the grifter, right? I, the one stealing the message, stealing intellectual property that they accuse other people of doing now, like our brother Ibrahim, which, by the way, Ibrahim, I see you in chat, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Everybody's stealing. We're all grifters. We all have a vested interest in duping you Negroes so we can make money off of a... Let me ask you a question, fam. Just real quick. Use your noodle with me, right? Follow me. Would you agree that a grifter goes to where the money is, right? You would agree that grifters go to where the money is. This should probably go without saying for many of you, right? Bank robbers go rob banks because that's where the money is. Grifters grift where the money is. Now, I would hope that after 2 years of talking with your brother, by the way, shout out to Emmanuel. I didn't see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. I would hope after 2 years with your brother, 2 or more, for some of you, that you would realize I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna say I'm the smartest cat, but I'm not stupid. What the hell kind of grifter would I be to specifically attempt to grift off of a people whose whole part of their ideology is that they don't have anything? If you don't believe me, fam, like I said, I'm only presenting facts. I will not allege anything. I will not make any ad hominem attacks. I will not do any of that. I will just simply lay out the evidence and let you decide for yourselves. Wouldn't I grift where the money is? Wouldn't I be like a black conservative or even better, a black liberal, one of these black liberal pets that get all these donations from white folks? Why the hell would I come to a people who have been taught by the founders that we don't have no money to do nothing? Why would I pitch my tent, my grifter tent, to siphon nothing from a people that ain't got nothing? But understand, fam, it turns out that when you do things like start a hashtag movement chapter or organize a lineage-based advocacy organization like a PAC or something, we can't really have the money to support that. We broke. We don't have nothing. But now, if you take your hashtag movement and you organize it as a 501c4 and make it a national umbrella organization with bylaws and shit, and then demand that everybody that put up their resources, their time, their energy, either pay you dues and come under your official umbrella organization or be basically cast out. Oh, well, no, we can call that. Oh yeah, I said it. We don't have no money when Mark Black wants to organize out of his own pocket. Y'all remember this. I did multiple broadcasts laying out what PACs are, how they operate, what the laws are, how we could fund it, what plans we could do, what things we could accomplish, and the whole 9 yards. And not only that, but I was willing, unemployed, by the way, mind you, fam, due to my issues, my health issues. I've been unemployed for years now. So taking my money, my family money, out of my own pocket to incorporate, register, and make legit a lineage-based PAC in the midst of the political season so that we could be able to identify candidates and get out there and canvass for them. We could do phone banking. We could help fund the rise and growth of new chapters and the whole 9 yards. And the best part about it is that the way that the organization was going to be set up, it wouldn't have us beholden to either Democrats or Republicans. We were told we ain't got no money for that. ADOS can't call that. Y'all trying to compete with all these other packs. Fam, name me one other lineage-based pack out there that we'd have to compete with. Because we don't have to compete with the Latinos or the Asians, Pacific Islanders and all of them. They're going to have their own lineage-based shit, and so be it. Right? What other Black American lineage-based pack would we have to be out there competing with? I'll wait. I called in to Breaking Brown because I used to regularly contact Breaking Brown. Used to regularly go in and say, hey, sister, I just want to speak on a little something. And she publicly shot down the idea of a pack, which meant that everybody that the pack would have been organized to work for and benefit, if they were partisans of the hashtag movement, would never support it. She literally killed the idea of a pack. But now she has the nerve to tell you and I that through them organizing an umbrella organization to now encompass all of the chapters, and with those chapters basically disbanding as is, because they'd be essentially rogue chapters unless they operated under this new umbrella organization, that they have to basically disavow everything that they've done. I remember speaking to chapter leaders. See, family, I wish I could give you the actual receipts, but I did not get permission from these people. And you know that I don't put people's business on blast. They did not give me permission to do so. So I'm going to apologize with what I'm about to say. I know it, but I cannot prove it without having given you the information or getting the permission from the other person. But I've been in contact with chapter leaders who struggled to get paper to do pamphleteering in their area. I'm not going to say the chapter's locations, the names, or the leaders. I do not have their permission, and I would not do that. But I have been in contact with chapter leadership all over the country since the initiation of the first chapters. Yvette and Antonio did not put a fucking penny in on any of these chapters. That is not a slander. That is not disrespect. That is not bad-mouthing the founders. That is fact. There is no chapter in this country anywhere that can say that Yvette and Antonio funded the creation of that particular chapter. Not a one. But now, in order to operate, after having put in all that effort, having to learn how to organize while doing it. Family, I told you the chapters were going to be the saving grace of the hashtag movement. I told you that damn nearly a year ago, actually. And I have been proven right every step of the fucking way. The chapters have been putting in some amazing work. We've had chapters be instrumental in getting politicians elected that have been on board with our goals, with our agenda. Look at the shit that the chapters in California have been able to do, and the legislation that they've been able to forward. The chapters are legit, literal boots on the ground. And they built it. You, my brothers and sisters, my tribes people, you built that. And you deserve your goddamn flowers. I am in literal awe of you. Every single one of you. I am in awe of you. You amaze me. You took the message. You took the weapon. You took the tool that was given to us by Yvette and Antonio. And you went out there and you made it happen. You not only made it happen, but you make it happen every single day. I could not be more proud of you as your brother. I could not be more proud. And now I have to sit here and watch as they attempt to usurp your work. After putting in nothing. As a matter of fact, is Yvette and Antonio even aligned with a chapter in their own geographical area? Yvette's somewhere like Augusta, somewhere in that area. Is she affiliated with her local chapter? Just because you're the founder, the leader, don't mean you can't actually be a boot on the ground too. Fuck putting in $1 or $2 or $10 or taking that YouTube money that you might make that you accuse everybody else of stealing from you and helping to build these chapters. Forget about all of that. Are you even affiliated with a single damn chapter? Oh, Alma, look, fam, these two have dropped the ball so much that I actually wonder how it is that they still are uplifted to the extent that people are willing to Fam, you want to hear some crazy shit? You want to hear some crazy shit? In this umbrella organization, and again, I mean no shade to this individual, but there are people who are of immigrant descent who are allies of the movement. There are whites that are also aligned with the movement who will have leadership roles in this national organization, this national umbrella organization. But you and I can get blocked on a humbug simply for asking questions. So we supposed to be tribe, but they will consign you and I to the outer darkness. Meanwhile, they will sidle up next to people who ain't even us. And not only that, but put them in some positions of leadership. They're so politically astute, but they haven't figured out the lesson we should have learned with the NAACP. You let people of other groups, of other lineages, of other issues, or whatever the case may be involved with decision making and stuff like that. And it may not happen immediately, but over time, you see what I will be generous and describe as mission drift. We stop being so hard on maybe this particular thing, and now it kind of moves over to this thing a little bit. Like the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People was supposedly, about black folk. But look at it. Over time, they advocate for this group and for that group. And black folk is just an afterthought at this particular point. Now, if I were creating a new organization that was supposed to be for lineage-based advocacy for my people, my tribe alone, one of the main key things that I would make sure to do would be to make sure that at every point, there is never the possibility of co-optation from outside influences. Not that people can't ally with. I'm not against immigrants. I don't hate them. I'm not against white folks. I don't hate them either. But when it comes to what me and my people need, it needs to be what me and my people decide we need. Not what somebody else who has interests elsewhere decide we need. And unfortunately, when you start introducing that shit into any type of leadership of our organizations, that's what tends to happen. Now, I'm no genius. I'm not claiming to be the most politically astute here. But I can see clearly that that's not a winning strategy. That That is not a winning strategy. I don't give a damn how loyal these allies have been. That's an ally's job, is to align and be loyal. What the fuck do these people want? Cookies? They're not doing anything more or less than what we're having to do. And we're having to do it under the burden of being the motherfucking bottom caste. So how in the hell do you create any type of umbrella or leadership organization that you include anybody that ain't us? Again, I'm asking the questions. This shit is ridiculous. This shit is madness. Let's review. After today, I am telling you, I am not aligned in any way with the hashtag movement. So let me just go ahead and say that. So everybody that's here that is too hyper partisan to accept the truth of matters and only care about loyalty to the lionized founders, you can exit stage left. There's the door. But I'm going to give you the reasons why. Unlike others who just fell back, like Brother Alexander Hamilton, Dr. Alexander Hamilton, and others who were purged out, like the Brother Elder Otis, like Brother Ibrahim, among many others. Unlike them, I'm going to give you the reasons why I cannot fuck with them no more. There are three. One, I will not stand by and watch the efforts of average, everyday tribesmen of mine be usurped, be stolen from them. I don't give a shit how you label this. What Yvette and Antonio is doing at this particular point is a naked and open power grab for something that they never even wanted in the first place. When the chapters first started developing, they never spoke about them. They never offered them any aid, assistance, uplift, none of that. Until it became clear that the chapters were going to remain a thing, Yvette and Antonio said jack fucking shit about the chapters. And they have no right to create some little umbrella group and designate who the fuck is officially ADOS chapters and who is not. I don't give a shit how you feel about that. That is theft. That is theft. And I will not abide it. I will not abide it. To my chapter brothers and sisters, y'all keep doing the work. And if you so need to change your name or do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do in order to retain your power and your independence, your brother Mark Black, one who loves you, I suggest that you do so. I suggest that this new umbrella organization that she's intending to do whatever with, I expect that you tell them to go fuck themselves. They put in nothing. They supported nothing. And so they get nothing. They should not be stealing from you. And I will not abide it. Second reason. Because the hashtag at this point, fam, is absolute fucking mud. It is shit. It is absolute mud. Fam, I rewatched the interview that Yvette did with W. Kamau Bell on United Shades of America. You remember that show on CNN the other day? The one that Yvette did with Kamau? You remember that? Kamau spoke throughout that whole broadcast with a whole range of people. And the brother made it clear that, hey, while he don't necessarily understand what all reparations will entail, he's for it. So he was not a hostile interviewer or anything like that. until he spoke with Yvette Carnell. And his first words to her in that segment was that, I won't lie, I was kind of afraid to have this interview. There were people that I wanted to talk to for this broadcast who said that if you're in it, they can't participate. I can't speak for you, fam, but I do use logic. Let us create a chain of logic here for a second. Yvette and Antonio are the founders of the hashtag movement known as hashtag ADOS. Yvette and Antonio are seen as hostile, problematic, troublemaking, shit stirring, trouble causing by people who are not even so inclined to see the movement that way. Conclusion: the hashtag movement is damaged by the reputation of its founders. I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you. I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you. But the hashtag is tainted. The moment, look, fam, you could sit here and talk about reparations. You can talk about the differences between race, nationality, ethnicity. You can bring up the data that talks about our position as the bottom caste, and you will get people from every stripe. I know, because I do it every day. People of every stripe who will agree with you. I got conservatives that follow me and have conversations about reparations and about our justice claim. I got liberals. I got leftists. I got probably somebody on the alt-right who said, you know, that nigga Mark Black ain't that damn bad. I got people of different religious groups, different ethnic groups, and all of that. Because the information and shit makes sense. But family, if I use the hashtag ADOS in any of my correspondence with these individuals, I watch the doors shut. I watch the conversations disappear. I watch people shut the fuck down. I watch people then who were, instead of being interested, open to discussion, go immediately hostile. At this particular point, the hashtag is done. People say, what's the future of the hashtag movement? There isn't one. Not under the current hashtag. It's poisoned. It's tainted. And it's tainted by the very people that fucking founded it. All of the arguments with people about arguing back and forth with FBA about Tariq creating his own, what do they call it? What's the phrase that Yvette and Antonio and their partisans call it? They say something like sharding off or carving out. That's the phrase. Everybody is trying to carve out something. Which, by the way, if you're talking about advocacy for the most downtrodden, bottom caste individuals, I would expect that you would want anybody who would advocate to carve out their little battle space immediately. I would expect that you would want them to carve something out from that. You fucking ain't right. But no, they're constant fighting with everybody about everybody stealing. They literally accused our brother Ibrahim of stealing fucking intellectual property. Now, mind you, Antonio might be a lawyer, but I understand the law too. And I understand that when you fucking put something into print that isn't true, that diminishes or maligns someone's character, that there are laws against that. I digress. But I will say this, literally accused this brother of stealing his intellectual property when it's been clearly established that there is nothing that Antonio's worked on that isn't, one, public property, public information, right? Even the report that he co-authored with Dr. Darity, that's public information. You can go right to the Duke website. I got a link to the motherfucker in the description of every one of my videos. What we get wrong about the racial wealth gap. If I use any, as long as I make attributions, right? If I say something from that and I say I attribute it to this work, or from the report, what we get wrong about the racial wealth gap, here's the data, you can't say shit to me. That's not stealing your intellectual property. Ibrahim has been one of the truest of the true, one of the most loyal of the loyal, a firebrand for this advocacy. That brings me to point number 3. The third and final reason why I can't fuck with the hashtag movement no more is because, to be quite frank, I'm tired of seeing good people run from what should be a great thing. That's my emotional aspect of it. I really am just tired of watching good folk run from what's supposed to be the strongest push towards advocacy for our justice claim that exists. If you had a few disaffected individuals, you could attribute that up to personality conflicts, miscommunication, etc. You follow me, fam? If you had a few disaffected individuals, right, you could legitimately make arguments that, hey, it's not this, it's not that. But we watched how Brother Travis, aka Black Dollars University, was made a pariah in one of the first purges. We've watched highly effective communicators and advocates like our brother Dr. Alexander Hamilton just simply fall the fuck back. We've watched people who have been the truest of the true, who have been the most diehard of the diehards, simply say, I can't do this anymore. At some point, fam, at some point, I would think it makes sense that you would stop pointing at those individuals as disaffected and saying, is it them? And start looking at the people supposedly running the show and say, is it you? I mean, how do you alienate Dr. Darity? Dr. Darity is accused of having used the hashtag movement to get sales. Thank you, Brother Morpheus. I appreciate you, and I'm glad to see you, fam. You have people that are members of the hashtag movement that are accusing Dr. Darity of basically grifting off the movement to push sales of his book and this, that, and the third, right? I'm gonna be truthful with you. I can't speak to Dr. Darity's motivations, but I can guess. I can have some insight. Dr. Darity moves as an academician, right? He's an academic, and he's a famous, economist, right? Like, the man's been doing this work for quite some time. Okay? And I'm not going to make any arguments to authority or whatever. I'm not putting Dr. Darity on a pedestal, although I adore the man personally, and I think he's super intelligent. So I'm a fanboy, but I'm not going to do that to y'all. Just going to simply say this. If Dr. Darity has to even ask the question of how do I continue my efforts to support the work of the hashtag movement, but without being identified with Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore, that should have been enough to make many of you ask questions. Because that's what they accuse him of. They accuse him of, he was looking to distance himself from the founders. He was grifting. Did you ever stop to ask yourself why this fairly nondescript, humble man would feel like that he would need to ask why he or how he could distance himself from these particular individuals while still supporting the work. By the way, where's the book club for Dr. Darity's From Here to Equality? I did a review of the book. Fam, I got a copy of the book the day it dropped. Like the day Dr. Darity's book dropped, I bought it hard copy. And I've read it multiple times. It is, in my humble opinion, the preeminent masterwork for the buttressing of the arguments around our justice claim. All the questions that people ask now, I say, here, I'll give you a little bit of information, but I need you to check out Dr. Darity's book, From Here to Equality. Because he answers it all. But we've had to read books written by various scholars, but most of them white folks. Now, I'm no racist. I'm no bigot. I don't hate. Information comes from where it come from. Hell, I've read The Half Has Never Been Told. I've read The Color of Law. I've read The Color of Money. Dr. Marissa Baradarin. Great books. But how the fuck do you highlight all these other books and this man who has made helping getting your justice claim his life's work? You don't highlight his book once? Like, you don't even do a review on it? Fuck a book club. Maybe she don't want to do a book club. Maybe she was busy. Maybe she's tired. Okay, fine. You don't even do a review? But then you wonder why this man wants to distance himself from you. Y'all sit here and say he's in the wrong because he wanted to continue the work, but without the anchor, the burden of having to deal with the taint that the founders have laid upon the hashtag. You blame him instead of asking why. Fuck that. I've seen too many good people that love this work, including myself, who are dedicated, dyed in the wool, who will bend over backwards, who will bleed for our people if need be, who simply just cannot continue to support what is clearly fuckery. I'm not talking about what I feel is fuckery. This is theft. This is slander. This is constant ad hominem attacks on people. Constant distraction. I did a little thing for myself. I went the other day on Yvette's channel and I went back through the titles of her broadcast just for the last 6 months. I just wanted to see something. In 6 months, the titles of her videos had reparations in it twice in 6 months. Reparations for me is first, foremost, it's item number 1, it's item number 21, right? Like, if I could talk about our justice claim on every broadcast, I'm going to make sure I do so. My sister, Pretty Muslima, brings up a good ass point. People ask me, why did I address this? Because it is time for us to get away from the bullshit. It is time for us to stop with the drama mongering, the accusations, going back and forth, and this, that, and the third. I'm sorry to have to be the one to tell you, but the facts of this matter have already been laid out clearly for everyone to see. You either at this point, are intellectually and ethically honest with yourself, and you understand that the poison pill known as the hashtag movement simply cannot be swallowed, and we need to help further the work of the people that are actually doing the work on the ground, right? So support your chapters, back them up, start new chapters. You don't have to call them the hashtag, but we need as many boots on the ground as possible, right? We need to unlatch from our unhealthy, possessive, sick attachment to the Democrats. Like Antonio sitting here talking about the Democrats owe us. Antonio, brother, America owes us a debt, and they ain't had no problem not paying that motherfucker. You think the Democrats owing us anything means something? That's the limit. That's the best your political analysis can give you. We need to stick with the Democrats because we've been loyal to them and they owe us. They don't give a fuck about us, and I've never been beholden to no damn Democrats. I will not, you will not, we should not be bound by that golden chain to their beloved Democrats. If they want to do whatever advocacy that they think sheepdogs our people back into some fucking Democratic fold, let them do it. You and I are not required to be bound by the failure of their imagination. We need to focus, and we need to focus on actually building the alternatives, the infrastructure that will allow us to get off from under, as best we're able, the matrix. We need to focus on real politics. Take your morality, take your feelings, take your attachments, take with the loyalty out of it. We don't have no permanent loyalties to nobody. We don't have no permanent interest in anybody. We only have permanent interest for ourselves. Just like every other tribe, just like every other ethnic group in this country, we are beholden to no one. We only owe us. If it does not benefit us, I don't give a shit how politically astute it sounds. It's garbage. Throw it away. I'm not here to lionize a personality, to uplift some individual. I am here to be, as best I'm able to understand, a voice for my people and a voice for my ancestors. I am a Black American, descendant of the enslaved here in the United States, and I'm beholden to no one. No one owns me. No one owns my lineage. No one owns my advocacy except my people. I belong to my tribe. Period. We need to get back to basics. We need to get back to solid advocacy where we make the data the forefront. We need to get back to aligning with everybody that resonates with our message, whether they call themselves FBA or they call themselves B1 or I don't give a fuck about the beef between Yvette and Antonio and Tariq. None of them control my goddamn life. If he wants to call her Uncle Strappy, what the hell that got to do with me? If she wants to call his conference a struggle conference, what the hell does that got to do with us? Back in the day, when it was B1, FBA, everybody, all of us on social media, pushing the hashtag, pushing the data, we were a force to be reckoned with, and no one could divide us. And we let Yvette and Antonio and Tariq and everybody else come in and divide us? That don't make no damn sense. Like I said, if you wanted to know who was responsible for all of this shit, all you had to do was look in the mirror. Because Yvette and Antonio and Tariq and nobody else can do anything to you that you don't bend over and let them do. Our addiction to the drama and our refusal to ask questions and all this other bullshit. I'm not with that no more. Like my sister said, it's always been divided, and that was not a bug. Division is a feature. We need B1 perspectives, just like we need FBA perspectives, just like we need hashtag ADOS perspectives, just like we need DOAS perspectives. Guess what? It's all one great soup that we get to stir into this beautiful pot to create one justice claim for one people, for one tribe. Division, fam, sometimes ideologically is not a bug. It's a feature. Because the only thing that really tied us all together was the fact that we all claim the same lineage, claim the same heritage. That was the one tie. The one thing. Look, fam, I remember when back in the day, before this whole acronym war started, it didn't matter what acronym you was repping in your little Twitter tag or your Facebook post or whatever the case may be. The moment we found out we were from the same tribe, it was like this. It was like this. We wasn't giving a fuck if a brother felt that maybe he was a little bit more conservative, and so he thought that maybe we might, start making some more efforts of our own rather than solely dependent upon government for our justice claim. It didn't matter that he thought that. It didn't matter if somebody said, hey, you know what? I believe in the Most High. Somebody said, I believe in Allah. None of that mattered. The moment we found out that we were all from the same tribe, the love was instant. And fam, we were a force to be reckoned with. We actually legit in 2019 had a real chance of affecting a presidential election. And then we got sidetracked with fucking egotistical, mind-stroking, petty hero worship bullshit and beefs. Sister Strongflower is right. And my sister Pretty Muslima is right. Our job is to focus on the work and to mint as many leaders as we possibly can, organized around the one principle that we all know we can cleave to, and that is that we are one people. We are one tribe. Your interest is my interest. Whether you understand them interests differently than I does not matter. That's an area for discussion. That's an area where we get together and we say, fam, you were talking about this. Do you mean that? Not assuming malice, but seeking to understand your tribesman, your tribeswoman, your brother, your sister. Differences are not a bug. It's a feature. We need to get back to basics. Back to basics. Fuck the beefs. If Antonio and them feel like they insulted some kind of way, they was grown when I met them. They could defend their goddamn self. They don't need me to defend them. If Rick feels some kind of way about some shit somebody said about his conference, that nigga was grown when I met him. He don't need me or you to defend him. We got work to do. We in the middle of a renewed, hot, aggressive moment of these white supremacists attacking our brothers and sisters on the street. We watched Wednesday as they said, you know what, fuck y'all's laws, fuck y'all's politics. But we still arguing over bullshit. We have building to do, fam. And nobody's gonna stop that. I won't allow it. I will not allow it. Before I allow that, I will completely walk the fuck away from all of that bullshit. I don't give a fuck about nobody's hashtag. I don't give a shit about nobody's founders. I don't give a fuck about your leaders. As far as I'm concerned, they haven't led us anywhere. I haven't seen no strategy, no real plan, no nothing that we can actually measure, that we can. By the way, shout out to my beloved brother, Travis, I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Happy New Year to you, fam. We are one people. We are one tribe. We black Americans. We black. We were born that way. We're going to live that way. We're going to die that way. Can't nobody take it from us. Can't nobody sit here and trick us out of it. Can't nobody kill it. And whatever we decide to do, we can do it. Those chapters didn't go out there and ask for permission from anybody to organize. They did it. Our brother Travis didn't go out there and ask Yvette and Tone for permission to go and defend his communities down there in Texas and other places in the South. He did it. I'm here to tell all of you who may be concerned, who may be disaffected, don't be. Leave the mess behind. You're only disaffected. You're only confused because you're trying to rationalize the irrational. You're trying to reconcile the irreconcilable. Leave the garbage where it is. I know how much it might hurt to say that you've put your love and your charity and your heart into somebody. And fam, there's room for forgiveness. There's room to be able to come back to the fold. But right now, I'm sorry. These motherfuckers are out of bounds. They're out of pocket. They are out of pocket. And you are under no obligation to accept willy-nilly anything they say simply because they're holding your lineage designation and the hashtag that you aligned under for X number of years now hostage. Y'all should have knew something was up when they couldn't give us a good explanation as to whether or not ADOS is a lineage or if it's a political movement. They sit here and say 1 minute that it's all about lineage. But then when you claim the lineage, but you don't accept their bullshit politics, then they move the goalposts and say, nope, ADOS is politics. They're full of shit. I don't even care what we ultimately end up calling ourselves. Because the fact is I just cleave to our lineage. We are a people. Last time I checked, we black people. And we now understand there ain't no such thing as flat blackness. So when I say black people, I'm talking about you and me. I'm not talking about everybody else with dark skin around this motherfucker. I'm talking about us. It's a sunk cost. We've all invested something in these folk. But just because you've invested, fam, that's why I did the broadcast on logical fallacies. Why I did the broadcast on critical thinking. We don't need to fight with Yvette and Tone or fight for them. We just need to move on. We just need to move on, fam. Like Sister Pretty Muslima said, drown them out with silence. I'm not here to be fighting people that are telling me that everything that my people that invested in over the last 2 years now belong to them. I don't have to argue with them. I don't have to fight with them. All I have to do is look at them like they crazy and keep it pushing. I don't have to sit here and listen to their accusations of grift and this, that, and the third from their partisans. I just use the block button like they do. Like they block everybody that don't spout the party line. So guess what they end up doing? They end up existing in a fucking echo chamber. Pretty soon, they're all going to be talking to themselves. And you know what? That's fine. Kill them with silence. Let's drown their ass out with action. I'm with that. Let's commit in 2021 to drowning out all of these haters, all of these people that are wanting to glom on now to our energy. Let's drown them out with action. Let's drown them out with renewed commitments to fighting however we fight on every battlefront. Under any acronym, under any name you call yourself, I don't care. If you are my tribes person, my tribesman, tribeswoman, my brother, my sister, I'm with you. Let's freeze these motherfuckers out. I don't have to sit here and worry about if somebody gonna love me or hate me because I said something about Tariq, or I said something about Yvette, or I said something about PBT, or said something about everybody else. I know, you know what, Sister Muslima, I told you, because you and I have talked, your brother Mark is slow on the uptake, but when I get it, I get it. And she's right. We have wasted a fucking year or better. In 2019, we legit had a chance to influence a presidential election, and we completely dropped the fucking ball. We completely dropped the ball. I remember when we shut Kamala Harris the fuck up. I remember that. I remember Kamala Harris couldn't even poll over 1% in the primaries. That was us. We were so formidable in our online presence, fam, that if we said anything against a presidential candidate on the Democratic side, they had hell to tell the captain. We were on the verge of changing the fucking game. And with our hopes invested in these two individuals who told us that we can trust them, that they've analyzed the whole thing, and they understand the path that we need to take. We said, okay, here you go. Here's our political capital. Here's our hearts. Here's our efforts. Here's our money. Here's our energy. And so then we got to listen to Marianne Williamson's sorry ass, who even after being told multiple times, bitch, 500 billion ain't even enough to cuss a cat out. Like, you weigh, like, you're not even in the ballpark. Like, you're not even in the goddamn parking lot. But they elevated her, right? To show off their political chops, they had Jim Jarmusch show up at the conference. Okay, and okay, so what? What that? And then when it came time to give us our marching orders, I was there. I live tweeted the whole conference. I'm sitting there waiting. I'm saying, okay, this is the moment. This is the moment where we get in the game plan. This is the moment where we're getting ready to go into 2020, giving these motherfuckers that smoke. They came to us with Democratic down ballot. And we've been hustling backwards ever fucking since. We were on the verge of effecting a presidential election, and we squandered damn nearly 2 years of political advocacy, political action, political activism, political energy. We went and squandered political capital supporting Byron Allen ass, who when he comes out walking out of the goddamn Supreme Court, gives a goddamn little speech for the cameras and mentions black and brown. He can't even say the damn hashtag. But then we got to be subjected to Antonio bigging himself up, talking about, I talked to B the other day, and we got a plan and this, that, and the third. I still got questions about whether or not some money got kicked over to them. I really do. Because there was just no transparency when it came to the whole Byron Allen thing. If you said any fucking questions, if you questioned at all the whole Byron Allen situation, you were immediately declared. Matter of fact, that was when I was blocked by Tone. Was when I questioned the Byron Allen situation. I said, wait a minute. So we invested our political capital in Byron Allen. What's the quid pro quo? What can we expect from Byron Allen? They keep telling us that politics is an exchange, not a gift. But the moment I ask, what the fuck is the exchange? I'm now persona non grata? I'm not even mad about it. I'm I'm not even mad about it, fam. We sat there after wasting all this political capital on this bullshit Democratic down ballot plan. We watched the griot slander us. So we spent political capital for Byron Allen, but then watch his rag slander us online. They didn't even show up. You remember the HR 40 conference? Where was Yvette and Tone? Where was Yvette and Tone? They sat there and people tried to shit on Dr. Darity. I heard one ADOS hyper partisan say that Dr. Darity was suspect because he couldn't be there at the motherfucking HR 40 hearings. But Yvette and Tone wasn't there either. We wasted political capital to bring all these other people there, and then they was at the damn Angela Project. Every single opportunity that they've had to actually put feet on earth, boots on ground, ass at sight, not face on camera, ass on location, they have not done it. They have not done it. Fam, I'm a veteran. In the military, we say that an effective leader is one that we know will do everything that they order us to do plus one more, plus one unit more. That's what makes a good leader. If you have a company commander that is rough and ready like you, that's trained up just like you, that could jump into a fucking foxhole and dig it like you, that can eat a shit sandwich and ask for seconds, that's hardcore, balls to the wall, all go and no quit. When that motherfucker demands when he orders that you walk into a nuclear firestorm with him, you will follow him. Why? Because you are going there with him. He is leading the way. He's in the front. He's there before he tells you to get there. That's what leadership looks like. Leadership looks like having your ass at the HR 40 conference. Leadership looks like you standing out on the cold on the steps at the Supreme Court. You being there first. Leadership is you saying, hey fam, I appreciate every dollar y'all giving me right now. I've been hearing about the formation of these chapters. So guess what? I could use a little bit of this money for myself because a nigga got to eat sometime this month. But all the rest of it is going to help found at least one of these motherfuckers. And as y'all give to me, I'm going to give to them. That's what leadership look like. Leadership look like saying, hey, I know y'all need a pack. So guess what, fam? If y'all with me on the pack, you don't even have to do nothing. I'll go ahead and organize it. I'll incorporate it. I'll register it with the state. I'll get all the paperwork done. That's what leadership look like. Leadership look like, damn, I love this lineage-based advocacy. You know what? We need to get something going right here in our neighborhood, in our community, and putting feet to the ground. There's a brother, shout out to brother Kevin, who is also now persona non grata from the hashtag movement. Brother Kevin done went through hell this year. He done lost his mama. He done lost a whole bunch of his folks to COVID. He lived in motherfucking Southern Cal. I've spoken to this brother legit. And I know he wouldn't be mad for me to tell y'all this. Kevin been unemployed. Kevin took money, went to Kinko's, printed up pamphlets of ADOS 101 and stood out at the motherfucking grocery store in his community handing out copies of ADOS 101. Because that's what the fuck leadership looks like. Leadership don't ask for permission. Leadership do. We've been sold a bill of goods. But that's okay, family. It's okay. I want you to understand. It's okay. It's okay to get bopped. Right? It's not okay to stay bopped. Because like Pretty Muslima said, truth be told, at this point, we're all persona non grata. None of us matter to the hashtag movement. You can take our brother Travis, who in the New York Times was made the face of his people, the face of his movement. And you can call him names and slander him and accuse him of trying to carve out something when all the brother's ever done, ever since he heard about this advocacy. Look, fam, he's in the chat, so I can speak for him because I know my brother. Brother Travis, ever since he's heard about our lineage-based advocacy, ever since he has claimed the name, has lived, eat, breathe, sleep, shit, advocacy. The brother was developing gear for us to wear, right? He was developing products for us to, show our pride, esprit de corps, right? The brother has been involved in every damn thing anybody would come up with, any plan that anybody would come up with. Brother Travis was not only involved, but the first to volunteer. And when they announced the conference, Brother Travis didn't even hesitate. He was like, on his old Michael McDonald shit, I'm gonna be there. They put a camera in this brother's face. He was covered from head to toe in our hashtag. Proud, beautiful, black, strong. Man, when I saw that picture, fam, I didn't even give a fuck what Farrah Stockman was talking about in the article. Just looking at my brother standing there, tall, proud, with our tribe on his chest, on his mind, on his heart. That shit made me so proud, fam. I got goosebumps talking about it right now. And you slander his name. You accuse him of being a fucking grifter. All because he wanted... Brother Travis, I appreciate you giving me the permission to speak because like I said, I got receipts. He can verify everything I'm about to say. When Brother Travis was organizing our walk in Selma, right? It was not a march. Brother Travis don't believe in protesting, and neither do I. It was a walk to gather the tribe together so that we can honor our ancestors and the work that they was doing. It was our way of, it was like church for us, basically. Brother Travis actually asked me to come and be a guest speaker at his walk in Selma. And it was my honor to come down there with my brother and honor our ancestors. That was what it was all about. It wasn't no carving out nothing. It wasn't no grifting. It wasn't shit. It was just a means for us to gather together and come down there and honor our ancestors in a place that should be sacred ground to many of us. There wasn't no fuckery. There wasn't no craziness. Matter of fact, I don't even think that Brother Travis asked anybody for any money. How you grifting and you ain't asked nobody for shit? I told Brother Travis that I would fly down there on my dime. Fam, you don't give me nothing. Because he offered to pay for my ticket from Seattle to come speak at the walk at Selma to honor our ancestors. He offered to buy my shit. And they started accusing him of grifting, of carving out, of trying to steal the shine from Yvette and Antonio. This man who has been nothing but loyal, nothing but dedicated, nothing but true. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Brother Travis is telling you right there. I'm telling you, I don't sit here and lie. I don't have to. The truth speaks all on its own. Brother Travis went on to organize the protest, the Sheila Jackson Lee protest. He did that. He asked nobody for nothing. Only now he had hardly no support from anybody because ADOS had completely shit on his name and made his reputation mud. You goddamn right, Unsunken One. The pettiness is absolutely fucking appalling. God forbid that anybody might come up with the idea that didn't come out of the mouth of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. God forbid that you might actually come up with an idea for advocacy, for uplift, for inspiration, for education, but it didn't come out of their mouth or off their fucking page or off a broadcast for them. If they didn't give it their imprimatur, their mark of approval. He sure did. Thank you. See, fam, I'm not the only one. At some point, when are you going to start looking at them and not us? I got castigated. I basically lost a whole big chunk of my audience because I did not disrespect ever Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. I simply stated that I vehemently disagree with a political strategy that keeps us bound to the Democrats by a golden chain, i.e. the Democratic down ballot strategy. I first asked, though, all of you who know me know that I'm not going to go in on anybody until I get clarity. Because that's what I teach the angry black sheep. Don't jump on anybody. Ask for clarity. Ask questions first. So when they first announced the whole Democratic down ballot thing, I asked for clarity. I said, did you add the Democratic part to it because of democracy? Like, are you talking about Democratic small d Democratic, right? Because that could just mean that it was an adjective or a modifier for down ballot. Right? Because Democratic down ballot could also mean, hey, we live in a democracy, so we're voting and we're voting down ballot democracy, right? Exercising democracy. Okay, so I did ask for clarity. What do you mean specifically by Democratic down ballot? And when it was made clear to me that it meant that we're just not voting for Democrats at the top of the ticket, but we're voting for Democrats down the ticket and for referenda and questions and initiatives and shit like that. That's when I attacked not them, I attacked the strategy. Because I knew immediately that it was a losing strategy. First of all, what about us who are affiliated or associated with the hashtag movement who have never voted for a Democrat? Fam, I am proud to say I have never once voted for a Democrat. I am also proud to say I have never once voted for a Republican. I have consistently voted on referenda, on initiatives, and third party. I have never voted for a Democrat. Never. Not once. So how the fuck are you going to sit here and try and convince me that all of a sudden it's politically astute, knowing the effects that voting consistently for Democrats have had on me and my community and my tribe for the last 60 years has been to vote Democrat anything, whether up the ticket or down the ticket? You lost me the moment you insisted on Democrat. But more importantly, here's the one question that Yvette and Tone never fucking answered. Never answered. And that's because they don't have one. They never answered this question. How would we know whether or not our down ballot, our Democratic down ballot strategy actually worked? How would we know? Now, I can tell you how we would know. We would know by seeing a reduction in the numbers of Black Americans that voted at the top of the ticket for Jim Crow Joe and Chameleon Harris. Right? So if we went and we saw at the exit polls after 2+ years of what was supposed to be advocacy, political action and advocacy, the measure of the effectiveness of this strat would be a clear, outside the realm or outside the margin of error, reduction in the number of Black people that voted for the Democratic candidates at the top of the ticket. Now, of course, it being a Democratic down ballot strategy, you would also see that for the most part, we would not have lost really many seats in the House and stuff like that because Black people would still be voting for Democrats down the ballot. So your congressperson and so on and so forth. Fam, with those parameters, with those clear parameters as the arbiter of effectiveness, not what I feel like, not what I think it should have been, but with those clear, established, measurable parameters of the efficacy of the Democratic down ballot strategy, I feel 100% confident in saying that it not only failed, but it failed overwhelmingly. It was a bullshit strat. It failed spectacularly. The Democrats lost seats down ballot. They lost seats down the ballot. They lost seats in the House. And if it wasn't for the promise of the $2,000 checks that Biden is now currently trying to backpedal on, they probably would have still lost Georgia. If they hadn't picked up both Warnock and Ossoff, then they would have lost Georgia too. And they would have still had to deal with the turtle in the Senate. Democratic down ballot wasn't fucking 4D chess. It was a completely botched strategy. It was just something thrown at the fucking wall to see what would stick. And not only that, but even if it wasn't a clearly failed strategy, even if it would have had some efficacy, some goddamn effect, the fact is that we still ended up with an administration, a Democratic administration that feels completely fine with ignoring Black issues. Both Jim Crow Joe Biden, who has been hostile and inimical to our interests for 47 years of politics, and Kamala Chameleon, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do anything for Black people now, are now going to be your 46th president and 46th president, 46th vice president. But that was political astuteness. That was, no, we don't need to continue to educate you niggers, anymore on politics. We passed 101. We on some 102 shit. Don't be asking us all these questions and, this and the third. I got 5,000 videos discussing the same thing. Anytime somebody have a question, anytime somebody come into the movement and say, hey, I like what I'm hearing. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm Black American. My peoples go all the way back to the motherfucking plantation. Blah, blah, blah. I'd like to know more. You know what I'm saying? What about the politics aspect of it? Oh, we passed that. You got to read up. You niggas don't know enough. They told us we don't know enough. That we ain't got to figure it out. That they on some 4D political chess moves. But you know what, fam? I'm here to tell you that it's okay. It's okay that happened. It's all right. I'm not ashamed. You should not be ashamed. You should not feel upset or ashamed about that fact that happened. We got gamed, and it can happen again. But the thing to understand is this. And simply this. Anybody can get bopped. It's all right. It happens, fam.
Jim KK Crow and Cammy Leon Harris are co-press.
Facts, double C's. It's all right if you get bopped, fam. What's not all right is continuing to get bopped. Once you know better, you do better. Like our sister Pretty Muslima said, let us work them into irrelevance, into nothingness. We don't have to fight. We don't have to sit here and argue with partisans who refuse to use their brains, who refuse to look at anything with open eyes. Right? You don't have to argue and fight with hashtag partisans. You don't have to sit there and dismiss somebody because they got B1 in the name or the title or FBA. If they fuck with you, fuck with them. Them is your tribes people. Even if they ain't currently political, do your job and work to help make them political. And let them maybe talk to you about economics a bit. Not everything that Dr. Clark Anderson said was complete bullshit. Some of it's outdated. And we need to be willing to examine all of that shit. And we can do that together. We don't need to be sitting here catering to no personalities. Not a single one. Don't even cater to me. Fam, if I'm leading you down the primrose path, please exit your brother. Be like, yeah, Mark Black, you gone, fam. But you won't need to do that because I pray only one prayer. Only one prayer. And those y'all who know me know I ain't religious. I don't believe in no God. But I do pray. I have one prayer. To stay on the straight way. The straight path. Shout out to those of you who like iron sharpens iron, keeps your brother straight. Shout out to BGS. Shout out to my esteemed sister, Pretty Muslima. Shout out to Sister Sherry, who be tightening the brother up. My only prayer is to stay on the straight way. That's it. I don't give a fuck about my feelings. I don't give a fuck about what I think I want or what I think things should be. I only care about what is. I want reality for my people, and I want to be able to deal with reality when it comes. I want to build with you, with us, the alternatives, the infrastructure needed for us to be able to unplug from the matrix. And yes, Pretty Muslima, it's Sirat al-Mustaqim. Lead me on the straight way. That's the only prayer anybody ever need. The whole damn universe is yours, but you got to be able to see it straight. I want to hear from y'all, fam. 360-602-2667 is the number. Thank y'all for letting me speak. Thank y'all for letting me clarify what I saw on the Capitol shit. Fam, we're going to talk about that in more detail because, believe it or not, you need to start making preparations. These white supremacists are going to be attacking soft targets, and I've been trying to hammer that home, but it's more imperative now that you start to learn to defend yourselves. You got to move. Here we go. Caller from 909, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind, fam?
This is Hot from California, just checking in.
What's good, fam? Glad to hear you. Glad to hear you. Talk to us, sir.
Yeah, man. I mean, when it comes to the vet and tone stuff, I don't want to say I told you so.
Go ahead, fam. Hey,
but
look, I firmly expected at least one of y'all to call in and be like, see, bruh, I mean, I'm not going to say I told you so, but you can go ahead and hit a brother with that. If you told me so, you told me so.
Yeah, because it's just like, because I get it. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt. You don't want to assume malicious intent, but the signs are all there.
Yeah.
And you know, when it comes to the presidential election, you saw how close Georgia was.
Yeah.
We could have swayed 10,000 the other way. It's not like you need to have millions of dollars. You didn't need, and it could have been just a simple, a couple of ads here and there. Could have played the other
Which
way.
we could have done had we actually organized that pack that I wanted to organize.
Right.
We would have already had the funding in place to buy an ad. Just one ad that run, on Sunday before the motherfucking football game down there in Georgia. And it would have changed the whole game. But no, we don't have no money for that. But we got money to pay chapter dues for advocacy now. So we didn't have no money when it came to doing a pack or organizing chapters or anything. But magically we got money for chapter dues.
Right. And see, to me, it seems like what the trouble is, or what I'm seeing is ADOS, or the hashtag ADOS, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I mean, it's something new. Reparations is such a, it's used as a cudgel. It's very, I guess the topic, it should be, but when you put it out there, it has like a very negative connotation. Like, and maybe that's because of the event, maybe because of the topic of itself, but you could have used that in any sort of way. Like, you have chapters in Ohio, or you have chapters in Michigan. The things it's so close. They look at things, when it comes to event and tone, they look at things from a very mainstream white lens.
You know what's fucked up?
These are
is
ADOS,
that
they look at things
I don't
in
even
that way. They look at,
I'm sorry, fam. I have to correct you on that. No, they don't. I don't know what they look at it as, but it ain't that. Because I actually got mainstream white ass followers of Black Outcast Media Broadcast that I've had the reparations discussion with and are actually 100% on board. There's a dude right now. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm gonna have to shout him out maybe on my next broadcast. But there's a white man that live in Chicago. Not Gabriel, not that dude. A different one, right?
But their tactics are very similar. So like, they use like the same. They feel like you have to do things in that traditional sort of way, because that's where she comes from. Is what I mean.
But the thing is that when you
kind of established, that's what the vet knows.
But here's the thing: Yvette and Antonio have been so off-putting, so combative, so disrespectful.
Right.
Like okay, I get it, right? Our sister Yvette is LGBT, and I have never and will never have any issue with that. Okay, yeah. I never cared, and I still don't. All right. And maybe she had her own issues with her interpretation of our sister Frances Cress Welsing's work. Okay? Right? So I get it. That being said, truly, was the time for you to diss the woman who arguably is one of the most famous Black Americans in modern time who passed away? Was the time for you to address those issues right when she just fucking died? Like, the judgment of these two, in a lot of ways, has always fucking been suspect.
Oh, that's why I'm thinking. Like, you got to remember, that's what threw me, because this is a person who's worked, like you say, on the Hill. You see what I'm saying? So I'm assuming she has this kind of understanding. I mean, I don't know if you assume that, or if anybody else, but I'm thinking.
I'll be honest, fam. I accepted Yvette at her word. She said that she had some political astuteness, and I never worked on the Hill.
Right.
I just got eyes to see and ears to hear. So I'm not gonna sit here and claim that I'm some political paragon, right? So if she's telling me she got some sort of insider knowledge, from having, I think she was with Barbara Boxer or whatever in Barbara Boxer's office or whatever the case may be, fine. I just accepted that's what it was, right? So I didn't necessarily question her bona fides, right? But when you consistently watch someone's judgment be suspect, at some point you have to question. You have to question that shit, right? She's consistently made bad choice on top of bad choice on top of bad choice in engagement with people, thus poisoning the very vehicle that she's now demanding that we pay for, right? You poisoned the hashtag, and now you're asking us to buy the hashtag after you done poisoned it? Like, make that shit make sense.
But see, do you think that it's because she comes from that, like working for Barbara Boxer? Do you think, and working in that environment, do you think kind of brought some of that stuff here to where it doesn't really apply? You think that could be a
Fam,
problem?
I'll be honest with you. I don't feel comfortable even conjecturing as to what her motives are. If you notice, I have not ascribed any motives to Yvette Carnell or Antonio Moore, and I will not, because I have no visibility as to their motives. All I can say is I have visibility to what they have espoused and what they have done. I speak on what I've seen. I speak on what I know that they've done, what they've espoused, what they've rejected, and so on and so forth. That is all I feel comfortable expounding upon. Whatever their motives are, at this particular point, what their intentions or motives are doesn't matter. What they have done is essentially taken the vehicle of the hashtag and they have made it poison. Nobody wants to engage in good faith with anybody bearing the hashtag ADOS.
It's like you say ADOS, there's people say, oh, you must be a Trump supporter. That doesn't help anybody.
Wait a minute, hold on a second, fam. There was a sister, I'm assuming she's a sister of ours on Twitter recently, who said, I've been wondering about these ADOS folk because, I'm thinking about everything, being all one black. Now, that was a perfect opportunity for us to be able to come in, right, and say, no, sister, when we talk about blackness in America, we're referring specifically to the descendants of the slaves because we're referring to ourselves as a lineage, and culture and all this and that and the third, right? Okay, cool. So that would have been a perfect opportunity to educate that sister. But the problem is she didn't necessarily have so much of an issue with our espousing of ourselves as a separate lineage. She had an issue with ADOS. She called us those ADOS people. When people start referring to you as that, you've got a problem.
Right.
Because that means that means that once you use that hashtag, all conversation and all attempts at education and information and inspiration get shut down. It's become poison.
It's more about the brand at this point than the actual lineage.
But the brand is bad. So on top of the fact that she's her and Antonio are attempting to rob the chapters of their work, because every single chapter I know in existence, not a single one of them was funded in any way or supported really in any way by Yvette and Antonio, right? But on top of robbing the chapters of their work and their efforts and their organization and their structure in their local areas, on top of that, you're saddling them with a brand that is now poison. It's like trying to make a motherfucker identify with the Boeing 737 Supermax.
Right.
It's like, wait a minute, that plane known for crashing. Why I want to be associated with that? And then on top of it, you want to make me pay for the privilege? You want me to pay you chapter dues under this umbrella organization? Now that we done put in everything for a damn plane that's been known to crash, a plane that fly into people's houses willy-nilly and blow shit up, a plane that nobody trusts the controls of, that doesn't make sense.
It is just kind of like, ADOS are that home doing their thing and giving us, turn down the volume. But as far as the lineage goes, the data was the focal point. That's what drew me in, the lineage and the data and the culture.
Absolutely.
That's what's kind of like the solid bedrock. Nobody really can debate any of that.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't like Stone or Yvette or Tariq or Gary or whoever, you know what I mean? The data and the lineage that's solid. So but when we go away from that, then you get all these other factions and all this confusion. You know what I mean?
But you know what though, fam? We lucked out. Okay? We held an L in this last election. We need to go ahead and own that. Right? We wasted 2 years of political energy and advocacy where we could have had a real effect. We wasted it. We squandered it by throwing our efforts and our trust behind people who were not worthy. That's okay. That's fine. It's all right. This is the perfect moment for a do-over. 2021 is the perfect time for a reboot. A perfect time for people like my esteemed brother Michael, who is Michael Hicks, one of the most erudite, calm, well-spoken brothers to be able to actually get out there and do what he does best, which is educate people on the need for this advocacy, right? I have loved that brother. Wait, shit, he's in the chat. Brother Michael, hey, it's good to see you, fam. Let me holler at Brother Michael real quick, fam. Brother Michael, okay. I want to say while you here. Oh, go ahead, man. Brother Michael, while you here, I want to say it to your face. All right? As best I'm able through this camera. You and I have had our differences, and we have had discussion on top of discussion with grace, with aplomb, with the recognition of mutual desire for understanding, with no assumption of malice. Brother, I not only esteem you, but I love you. And I know that you have had your own personal issues. I know that you have conflicted feelings and things like that with, because you've been one of the truest of the true. Your loyalty's been there, and that is beyond question. I'm not here to convince you to be disloyal. I'm here as your brother and one who loves you to convince you to follow the truth, brother. Do what you do best. You have been a force to be reckoned with. You have been a firebrand in this advocacy. And I'll be damned if I see you wasted because of confusion. Right? You are a believer in God, and you know that God is not the author of confusion. Wherever you find confusion, wherever you find fuckery, you can find the devil. So don't let your heart be troubled, fam. Get back on your square. It is time for us to make a do-over, to go out here and show demonstrably, clearly, provably, the efficacy of our advocacy. Not slinging shit at the wall to see what sticks. Not trying to play 4D chess, but keeping it simple, keeping it accessible, and keeping it clear. And that's my message to you specifically, my beloved brother. You are mighty, and don't you turn away from this advocacy regardless of who says what. Who shot John? You didn't get into this for that, and you don't need to get out of it because of that. My Mother Black told me, Michael, she said, don't let nobody steal your joy, fam, because they didn't give it to you. Don't let nobody steal your advocacy, brother, because they didn't give it to you. You heard the siren, you heard the call of our ancestors. You heard the siren that exists amongst our communities, amongst our families, amongst our people, and you picked up that mantle and you ran with it. That is yours. You earned your flowers, and you will continue to earn your flowers. I have nothing but the highest esteem for you, the highest respect for you, and the utmost faith in you, brother. And I thank you for letting me say that to your face. I thank you. And brother, I thank you for letting me say that to my brother. I think he needed to hear that. Go ahead, fam. I'm listening. I'm sorry. I just had to say that to my brother Michael, man.
Nah, you good, man. But yeah, that's all I want to say, man. It's
all right, brother.
Like we kind of need to just keep things in mind. I think things are so close now. We could, our advocacy could, tilt it one way or the other. We could have had an impact and been further along.
Yep.
But good to see you keeping at it. Some of the other callers chime in. I'm just going to soak up some knowledge.
All right, brother. Hey, I appreciate you as always, fam. Peace, love to you. We're going to get it in. It's time for a do-over. It's time for a reboot. I said that before the start of the new year. It's time for a reboot.
Yeah, we don't have a choice.
Yes, sir.
We have to.
Yes, sir. All right, brother, man. Peace. Great call. Great call. Yeah, fam. Like our sister Pretty Muslima said, we don't need to be sitting there fighting with nobody. Why do you need to fight with anybody? Fam, we've been organized from day one to look at the truth and let the truth guide our efforts. Caller from 910, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind?
Yeah, how's it going, Mark Black? I'm John Essence, man.
Hey, brother. Hey, good to have you, man. What's on your mind? Talk to us, fam.
Yeah, man. I want to start with the positives first, man.
Of
before
course.
I get to the negatives. As far as like what we should be doing, as far as like just the future goes from this point forward. I'm not the most creative person in the world, but I am an average working Black American man. You know, I'm an average working Black American man, and what I feel as though we can do is, once again, put our money where our mouth is. For those of us who's not the most articulate, for those of us who doesn't have, you know, the most charisma out there, you know what I mean? We do got the dollars. You know, somebody once said we're the richest consumers in the world. You know, we the ones buying up everything, but none of us is owning everything. So if we want to put our money anywhere, we should put it towards people, you know, who could do. Or,
Absolutely.
You know, at least learn from that. You dig?
You know, brother, I actually got a video coming soon that's going to be discussing economics. I'm in the final piece of working on that, where I'm actually going to offer particular solutions about how we do that economic piece. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I have the answers, but I am going to offer answers. I'm sick of people that spend all their time hashing over our problems, but when you ask them solutions, they're scared to get on the pot, right? They scared to actually put that shit out there. No, that's not your boy. I don't lack courage, right? Right or wrong, I'm gonna give you what I think, right? And so I want you to check that video out when it comes. It should come this week, where I'm going to be uploading the economics video, and I'm going to lay out everything I know about economics and discuss actual solutions. And I want you to make me a promise. I want you to leave me a comment under the video, or join me when I do my next live, or whatever the case may be. And I want you, if you agree, disagree, whatever, I want you to call back in, and I want you to tell me what you think. I want you to tell me if you feel like that with those ideas, with those solutions, that you actually have some damn hope for a change, rather than feeling like, oh, fuck, what do we do? Because I hope, I'm certain I'll be able to provide something that will be helpful.
Most definitely.
I appreciate that, Phil. I appreciate you. Love to do that. I appreciate you committing to that for me, man. Because, like I said, we gotta get back to basics. We gotta get back to the data. We gotta get back to cleaving to each other, right? Like, we need to cleave to, like Yvette and them used to say, claim the name. They don't even say that no more, right? We need to claim the name. We need to get with our tribe, and we need to actually do something for our people. Right, we need to actually build something that they can look at, that they can measure. The problem with this whole strategy and everything else that they've done is that they've been able to move the goalposts. They've been able to claim non-victories as victories. We get bad press in the New York Times, and they thank Farrah Stockman for the article. Like that was a win.
I'm sorry to cut you off. You know why that is?
I'm listening, fam. You tell me.
It's because the people who do follow behind that don't have a clear understanding of white supremacy. Yep. Now, if your foundation is I won't say everybody has a complete clear understanding of white supremacy, but if you understand it enough, it don't matter who's speaking. It don't matter what personality it is, whether it's Tariq Nasheed or anybody else. You know what I mean? If it doesn't make sense, if it's not aligning to what you have been taught or what you know about white supremacy as a whole, certain things politically, even right now, like if somebody was to say something, it just wouldn't make sense. You could discern whether something makes sense or not.
I agree.
So when you talk to anybody who follows behind their doctrine, well, I won't say their doctrine, but behind Tony and Yvette, because from what I'm looking right now, I'm starting to see that there's a lot of people who still subscribe to that hashtag, but necessarily, don't agree with a lot of things Yvette and Tony's doing. You know what I mean? So
that in and of itself is problematic, because what that essentially means is this: we are okay with the ideas, but we are not okay with the analysis. Right? I could sit here and give you information 24/7, fam, but information is only half of the equation. I also have to present a cogent analysis. I have to actually make sure I communicate to you my chain of logic so that the information I'm giving you has a context. It makes sense relative to the argumentation, the premises, and the conclusions that we derive from it. If I give you information, but my analysis is off, you can agree with the information, but that still leaves you lacking with what to do with the information. Now, if I want from you to only continue to keep coming and getting information from me, then I could argue that it would make sense for me to give you a flawed analysis or an incomplete analysis. Because if my whole benefit is just derived from you saying, hey, I get information from this brother. He's so smart. He gives me good information. But you're never able to do anything with that information. But I stay winning. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to do that to you. What I want to do is I want to give you information and a cogent analysis so that you can take that information, break apart my analysis and say, you know what? Brother Black is on to something with this analysis. Thus, I will be driven to act, right? You don't have to convince Black people to act in their own interest, but you have to communicate to them that this data, this information is in their interest.
Yeah. You know what? I completely agree with that. There was something that you said earlier in the broadcast that I slightly disagree with. It's not that I have an issue with you, but I do.
No, go ahead, fam. Hey, we have discussions over here, fam. If you disagree with me, I actually love that shit. So let's run it down. Let's have a talk.
Okay, so you said something about you will never speak in terms of what their intent is, right? All the times when I had called up to your show, I always bring up the whole thing of what do we do with traders. And the only reason why I said that is because, you know, I studied what happened to the Black Panther. Yep. You know, I studied what happened to Malcolm X. I studied what happened to a lot of Black organizations that either A, have been co-opted or the leaders have been compromised. Mm-hmm. Or, you know, just the whole thing with the COINTELPRO thing. So, like, it's one thing where you do a strategy or you create a strategy that just falls short. It's another thing where you create a strategy that hurts us. And if you're as intelligent as you tell us you are, and you create a strategy that hurts us, then what does that make you?
You know, fam,
you know what I mean?
Now I will say this, because I actually get the gist of what you just said, and I agree with you. So in light of our newfound agreement, what I will say is this. Once is a mistake. Twice is a trend. And yes, I am perfectly willing to accept and say and agree with that if consistently the choices made bring us harm rather than help, then one does not necessarily need to conjecture about their intentions, because their intentions through consistent patterns of action become clear. Now, that doesn't mean I have to come out and just be like, yeah, them niggas ain't shit. I don't do that. If you watch me, you know that's not how I operate anyway, right? But I will say that I do agree with you. If you consistently see chaos occurring, you don't have to guess at someone's intentions. Chaos appears to be the intention, right? So I'm perfectly comfortable with saying that. Right? I don't feel like at this point you even need to conjecture. Every single strat that's been put forward, every single step they claim will move us forward has actually been moving us backwards. Now you asked a key question, and I want to come back to it. I want to address it right now. You said, what do we do with traders? Now you have quite a few different schools of thought on that. Some of us think we should put a bullet in their head and keep it pushing. I understand that sentiment. I'm not saying I agree, but I understand the sentiment, right? But if I might offer a suggestion, and I can't take credit for it, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Our sister Pretty Muslima have been giving us the solution on how we deal with the traders all throughout the chat. We freeze them out, fam. They no longer have a voice. We do not give them a place to stand. We give them no head time, no air time, no head space. We simply move them into irrelevance. That's how you deal with traders. You know what they're going to do with those people that raided the Capitol last week? They're going to put quite a few of them in deep, dark holes because they got to make their examples. All right? And the rest of them, they're going to silence them into practical irrelevance. They're going to give them no place to stand, whether it's Gab, Parler, Facebook, IG, anything else. That is how they deal with traders. We are in a time when you can't just run up on traders and put one in their face. Not yet. However, we can deal with them by simply freezing them out by simply doing the work and not acknowledging that they played any part in where we go. That is how we deal with them, fam. That is how we deal with them. We don't have to disrespect. We don't have to fight. We don't have to sit there and call them a bunch of names. We don't have to do none of that shit. What we do is we make them irrelevant.
Is that how we get them out the paint?
That's exactly, fam. Look, they're already actually, I'm going to give you a little bit of hope. They're actually already well on the way. One of the greatest dangers that we as black people have, that I've discussed on my broadcast previously, is the creation of echo chambers, where we simply sit there preaching back and forth to motherfuckers that's already converted, right? Any advocacy for us has to be open to engage with other groups that may not agree with our advocacy, right? And the only way we can do that is by showing that we're open to having that dialogue. Not necessarily kissing their ass or anything like that. I'm not kissing no white folks' ass, no Latino ass, no immigrant ass, or nothing like that. But we can't always be seen as so much combative that we can't have a combat of ideas, right? So we leave our combat right now in the area of ideas. But what they have done is they have started to isolate at this particular point as a part of the cult actions, started to isolate into us versus them. They are creating, as we speak, an echo chamber, right? That's why you see on social media this whole thing about, everybody who's ADOS follow everybody else who's ADOS and this, that, and the third, right? This is why you see the periodic purges of everybody whose purity of loyalty to the founders is not 100% solid. Because they are already creating the seeds of their irrelevance. Pretty soon they will only be talking to themselves. Meanwhile, those of us who took the weapon, who took the key of advocacy, lineage-based advocacy from Yvette and Antonio, and run with it, we're going to be actually demonstrating the efficacy of our work, not only to our detractors, but to our people, which is even more important. You see what I'm saying? So by doing this freezing out, this thing of irrelevance, it really takes no effort from us. All we have to do is simply just do the damn work. Stop the drama mongering. I couldn't care less what Yvette and Tone say about anybody or anybody else's shit. I couldn't care less what Tariq say or PBA say or even what I say if I'm on some old drama shit. Right? If it's drama, it's useless. Just throw it away. Be like, oh, that nigga Mark Black tripping, man. I'll come back when he's talking some sense.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's the whole thing with drama between personalities. Like, if you know as a viewer that somebody is saying something, I won't say sideways, but that's completely false, it's our job as the people to check that.
Exactly. It's our job.
It's our job to check that. We shouldn't let it fester until it blows up. It's our job to check that. That's how peace gets started. If you see one personality, slick this and somebody else or whatever, it's our job to check that. Yep. We don't let it go unchecked. We don't wait till stuff blow up, and then when somebody retaliates, that person is a bully or whatever. It's our job to check that. Whether Tariq and she said something that was sideways, or whether he provoked something, whether he provoked something, that matters, because at the end of the day, these individuals, whether you want to admit it or not, including yourself, sir, y'all influence thousands. You know what I mean? Y'all influence thousands. So it's up to us to make sure that y'all on y'all square.
Okay, so here's how you do that. Here's exactly how you do that, because that's actually, out of everything we talked about so far, that's actually the easiest thing to address. Start supporting the black media that supports you. Start supporting the black media that is about solutions, that doesn't sit there and elaborate on beef and use ad hominem attacks like, I'm sorry, but Tariq is out of pocket to be calling them, Uncle Strappy and Tone Tits and shit like that. The shit's not funny. It's stupid. It's emotional. It's childish. And it's bullshit. And any person that I would consider somebody I would want operate with, that I would want to fuck with, is not even interested in watching or supporting any stuff like that. The way you fix that is by putting your eyes, efforts, resources, if you can contribute, if you can call it, towards media that doesn't do that, right? It's one, okay, again, Tariq is entertainment mostly to me, so I don't take him seriously. But at the same token, I'm not even entertained by him anymore, so I don't watch him. I don't have to diss the man. I don't have to sit there and be like, that nigga Tariq ain't shit, and he in his struggle conference. I don't have to say none of that. I just simply don't watch him. I don't know what the fuck Tariq is talking about. I don't watch him. And I'm already there with Yvette and Tone. I don't have to sit here and shade them and disrespect them and call them names and this, that, and the third. I simply don't need to watch them. I don't need to give them any time, no head space, no air space, no nothing. That's how you do that, fam. You, the audience, dictate how this advocacy is going to go. Online, that is, anyway, right? All you have to do is just start watching the folk that ain't doing the shit that we don't need to be doing. You don't have to be, wilding out and, and calling people names. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that to Yvette and Tone. I'm never going to do that to Tariq. I've said what I had to say about what I think about them. I'm done with it. At this point, I'm here to present inspiration, education, illumination, and to help us, whatever we decide to do, build something of actual substance, something that is measurable, that we can be held to account for, something that our people can see, something that our detractors can see, that is indisputable, unarguable. That's what I'm all about. I couldn't care less about no damn beef. I couldn't care less about no personality, especially when I've been able to see clearly that they're not leading me anywhere I want to go.
Right. Well, I'm gonna say this at the risk of you probably living on your salary. I see Tariq Nasheed as a very polarizing figure. There's no middle ground with him. It seems either people don't fuck with him, or it seems that people love him. There's no middle ground.
That's all right.
I guess I'm on the side of the people who do look at him as a mentor. I do. But get this though, the same people who look at Tariq Nasheed as a mentor also looks at Dr. Press Wilson as that figure. Also looks at Shahrazad Ali as that figure. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't just follow Tariq Nasheed, we follow behind everybody who taught him. You see what I mean? So
no, I get where you're coming from. And the thing is that I don't want you to follow behind anybody. Fam, we've had a great conversation, you and me, in these last few minutes. I can see you obviously have a lively mind. You have insight. You have the capability for data synthesis and analysis. Fam, take what you can from me. Take what you can from Tariq, from Sister Shahrazad, from our esteemed, ancestress, Frances Cress Welsing, from Neely Fuller, and anybody else. Truth is truth, no matter where you get it. Take all of that truth, fam, and through your own discernment, with humility to stay on the straight way, make your own analysis, and then jump into this thing and do the work. You don't need to follow. You don't need to follow. You don't need to follow me or any. Now, if you're talking about following as far as being a subscriber and, watching the broadcast and stuff like that, I appreciate it. You definitely welcome.
That work,
yeah, but I'm talking about as far as, fam, the ancestors. Truth be told, none of this shit is new. Our ancestors already given us the solutions. We just have to have the courage to pick up those solutions and actually do something with them. Like Frederick Douglass told us, he said, find out what a people will quietly submit to, and you will know the limits of the injustices that will be visited upon them. And those injustices will continue until they are encountered with words or blows or both. There is no room for ambiguity in that. Frederick Douglass told us, if you submit to these injustices, they will continue until you're able to counter them either through politics, i.e. words, or through blows, or both. Both options need to be on the table. So anybody telling you already that we have to make sure to be peaceable. We have to make sure to be nonviolent. You already know they suspect. Because our ancestor analyzed this shit. He came from the belly of the plantation, from slavery himself. He voted with his feet for his freedom. And he fought like a goddamn animal to see his people free. And he broke it down through years of distilled wisdom and supporting, and supporting his people. And he gave us this answer, this piece of wisdom. This is nothing new. All we need to do is just simply pick it up and decide that we have the courage to enact what we've been shown by those who came before. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. That's why everybody's sitting here talking about I'm the founder of this and the creator of that, and and putting up dates and 1527 for the FBA and all that. I'm like, okay, fine, but that shit don't mean nothing. Right? None of these people are inventing anything new. I can't take credit for a damn thing I share with you. I literally stand on the shoulders of giants, fam. Except the difference is that I'm actually honest enough to admit it. I stand on the shoulders of great ones that came long before me. I let the ancestors speak through me. I speak with Frederick's voice. I speak with Ida's voice. I speak with W.E.B. Du Bois' voice. I speak with those who didn't even have an opportunity to speak when they was alive because they was too busy picking cotton to pay the man at the end of the year. I speak for the brother who worked in the goddamn mine as a convict, a leased convict, until he died and was thrown into a mass grave to rot. I speak for him. I don't have to have nobody's permission, nobody's imprimatur, and I don't have to reinvent anything. All I have to do is open my mouth and let them speak.
Right.
So fam, we got this. You got this. You the savior we've been waiting for. You don't know it yet, but you are.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my man. Like you the savior we've been waiting for.
Yeah, you got the mental capacity to create and destroy. You know what I mean? Everybody follows behind our dreams. And when I say our dreams, I mean Black Americans, period. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely. Absolutely.
They're looking at us like what we gonna do, and then, you know what I mean, they follow suit.
Man, we come from the baddest motherfucking Americans that ever lived, but we sitting here spinning our wheels. Fuck I look like. I came from a people that literally built a nation. But I'm wondering, what do we do? And my ancestors already gave me the keys to the kingdom. My ancestors gave me the keys to the kingdom. And I'm sitting here spinning my wheels. We should be ashamed. Listening to these Negroes talking about they founded this and it's their intellectual property and they own this and all. Man, you don't own shit. Our ancestors have spoken, and they have given everybody the power to be able to stand up and fight in this advocacy, in this moment. You don't owe anybody anything.
So what do you think is stopping people from fighting? Do you think it's fair? Do you agree with that?
I think what's stopping people from fighting is the fact that we simply haven't yet made the decision to do so, right? And for various reasons. A lot of us are scared, right? Some of us haven't actually connected with this energy yet. Because I talk about how the connection to our lineage really isn't a political thing. It's, in a way, it's more of a metaphysical thing. And I'm not talking about like psychic powers or ESP or anything like that. I mean metaphysical in the philosophical sense. It kind of goes, it's a mental abstraction that gives us a place of safety that we never had before, right? So when we talk about our ancestors and our lineage and our tie together as a lineage, what we are saying in that particular, you know what, and a lot of us consider it as a spiritual thing, right? What we are saying is that here is a place that our enemies cannot reach, that they cannot destroy, that they cannot kill. You cannot kill who I come from. You cannot destroy who I hail from. You can't discredit or co-opt or buy out my lineage. Right? This is a tool. This is a weapon that we've never had before. Right? And now we do. With that alone, that was the key right there that we were missing. I'll be honest. Everybody think black people so divided, black people so fucked up. No, we're not. But we were missing a key. There was a door that was locked in front of us, and we were missing a key. And the key is that we are not a lost tribe of Africa. We are Americans. My ancestors' bones for like hundreds of years is buried at Forest Hill Cemetery in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm not no motherfucking African. I'm an American. My people is here. My homeland is here. Right? My shit is here. Like, I'm not a lost person. I remember at the conference, fam, Yvette stood up in front of us and she said, we are not a lost people. She said, I'm not no lost little child wandering the world looking for my place under the sun. She said, I have a home. My home is America. My nation is America. My people are Americans. We are black Americans, the descendants of the enslaved in this country. And we are a mighty motherfucking people. We don't owe nobody shit. That was the key we were missing. That was the only thing that we were missing for true effective advocacy. And now that we have it, fam, we cannot be stopped. All we have to do is cleave to that and then act based off of that.
One last thing I want to touch on before I get off this one. You said you was a veteran, right?
I'm sorry?
You said you was a veteran?
Yes, sir. U.S. Army, Signal Corps, Hood.
Got you. So with that said, what do you recommend as far as like weapon training? Like, do you think we should do that?
You said as far as life insurance?
No, as far as weapon training.
Oh, weapons go. Training. Okay, so I'm going to give you my standard answer because the standard answer is basically this. You need, whenever you're looking to acquire a firearm, to consider the range of engagement, right? So every firearm is going to have an effective range of engagement, okay? Now, you have basically three ranges of engagement. You have long-range engagements, right? You have mid-range or medium-range engagements, and then you have short-range, basically melee to about 20 meters out engagements, okay? So think of long-range as anything past 100 meters, or I'll just say yards. I'm sorry. Being ex-military, I think in meters and kilometers and shit, right? But think 120 yards. Anything past 120 yards is long range. Anything from 25 yards out to 100 yards is mid-range engagement, and anything under 25 yards is close range. Now, for long-range engagement, I recommend that you get a 30 caliber weapon. Now, the reason why I say a 30 caliber weapon is as follows. While a 223 or 5.56 NATO, right? Basically your AR/M16 platform, while that's really popular and it is actually very easy to use, the problem with it is that the trajectory of the bullet being so light does tend to fall off past around, I'd say, 300 meters, or I'm sorry, about 330 or so yards, right? So you can reach out quite a ways, but beyond that, you start losing stopping power, right? Okay, so what you want with a 30 caliber is you want something that has the power to reach out even beyond 330 meters or 330 yards if you need to. Can I just say meters, fam? And you can do the conversion later because it's just easier for me. But you want something that reaches out beyond 300 meters on a flat trajectory, right? Because bullets are affected by gravity. They rise and they fall, right? So what you want is you want something that has a flat trajectory that goes out and then drops, right? So you want something with power. Well, a 30 caliber weapon will give you that, like a 308 Winchester or a 30-30, 30-06, 338 Lapua, things like that, right? By the way, I know it's popular for most people to consider a civilian style of a battle rifle, like an AR platform or AK-47. But I submit to you that if you're going to buy a long-range weapon for long-range engagements, that you get you a bolt action with a magazine. And the reason why is as follows. Because if you're engaging someone that far out and you're training regularly, you'll have the fire discipline to be able to engage someone that far out with just a few rounds. Because remember, depending on how far away they are, you could hit them legitimately with a 30 caliber round before they even hear the gunshot. So you don't necessarily need high capacity. Plus, if you're defending an area, you're going to have ammunition there. Unlike a soldier who may be dropped off in the middle of nowhere and he has his battle load on him. So whatever rounds he got in his weapon and what's on his person is what he got, right? You don't need a high capacity, large magazine or anything like that. What you need is training, fire discipline, and a willingness to be able to reach out that far, right? So I would recommend that you get a solid, floating barrel, if you can get one, right? Glass bedded, floating barrel, good optics, bolt action, 30 caliber. Okay, now for mid-range engagements, there's nothing better than a shotgun. Get you a 12 gauge shotgun. I don't give a fuck what type of 12 gauge shotgun you get. If you get a 12 gauge shotgun, you are good to go for any medium range engagements. Matter of fact, a shotgun is actually effective for short and medium range engagements. So if you only have enough money to acquire one firearm, get a shotgun. With a shotgun, you can shoot sabot rounds. These are rounds that have little darts in it called flechettes that provide stability.
Notes, my man.
I'm sorry?
I said, I'm taking notes.
That's my man. You tell me to stop so I can let you catch up.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so you can, with a 12 gauge, you can fire flechette rounds or sabot rounds. You can fire slugs. And slugs will put meat on the table, put a hole in an intruder, the whole 9 yards. You can fire bird shot. You can fire a large bore shot for larger animals such as deer, elk, etc. Nothing beats a shotgun for short to medium range engagements. Nothing. I don't care if it's a Mossberg. I don't care if it's a Remington. I don't care if it's a pump action. I don't care if it's a semi-auto. I don't care. Get you a shotgun. It will serve you in such good stead, it's not even funny.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, for
and
sure.
The reason why I made that,
I'm sorry, go ahead, fam.
I made that statement because I just want to make one last statement. And I told my family this, so we don't have to rely on the Benjamin Trumps in the world when something happens to us. We got to realize that we're in a state of war, and that it's bigger than us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is our future generations is on the line.
You right.
So with that said, if I'm pointing everybody to just try to do the right thing, make sure the paperwork is good when it comes to
tool up.
Make sure everything is good, everything is straight. So if you get stopped and you know you didn't do nothing wrong, you know you didn't go over the speed limit, you know your registration and everything is A1, and you get stopped and you feel something fishy, I'm not gonna advocate anything online, but I will say just stay strapped.
No,
you know I mean?
I'm right there with you. As a matter of fact, I will say it, fam. At some point, you may be required to make the choice as to whether or not you go home that night or you don't. Choose to go home. They have made it clear that their job is to ensure you don't make it home. Your brother and one who loves you says that you have every right and every responsibility to try to go home.
To go home.
Because you know the old saying that our people have, better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.
Right. And we should tell our mothers and our loved ones if something happens to me, we're not trying to hear
it's on. I'm not forgiving shit.
It's on.
It's
you
on.
You know what I mean? It's on. Why for me? You know what I mean? Instead of getting settlement checks from the police department, we should pull all of our money to donate to the families.
Absolutely.
That way, they won't feel pressured or anything to be on some type of forgiveness tour, to have the Benjamin Trumps in the world come. I said Benjamin Trump. Benjamin Trump.
No, you Benjamin Trump is right.
You see what I mean? So that's the thing, man. I'm gonna just let off with that, man. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, no problem, fam. I'm glad I was able to help you. Again, great conversation. You the savior we've been waiting for, but I'm the savior you've been waiting for. We need each other, fam. So I love you, man. Take it easy, be safe out there, and I'll hear from you the next time.
All right, one love.
Yes, sir. Peace. Great call, fam. Yeah. It's all right for us to give that information out. See, I know it's probably some scary people in the chat who was like, oh, man, they talking about guns, man. They gonna run up on you. Man, no. No, you have every right. Caller from 214, it's your man, Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind?
Hey, Mark, it's Jeff Lee. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, brother, I can hear you just fine. Good to hear from you. What's on your mind, fam?
Just been listening. There's a lot I could say. I'm going to try to keep it quick. But I guess to start out, I am a Pan-Africanist. Mm-hmm. I do believe in reparations. I believe we're exclusively owed. That's the thing. And just as someone that's watched the entire hashtag movement, as you call it, for quite a while, I've seen the red flags from the beginning, just given that we were made out to be enemies, or just our ideology. You can be a Pan-Africanist and believe that we are the ones that are owed exclusively reparations, right?
Hey, do me a favor, fam. Repeat your name, because people are asking who's on the call. I don't think they caught it. So,
I go by Justin.
Justin. Okay, got you, Justin. So, Justin, just to make sure I understand what you said, there have been, including myself to a certain extent in my old ADOS attack dog days, those who have said that Pan-Africans are part of the problem or the issue that we face, here in the United States, right? In other words, we put some of the onus of the struggles that we have to face as the descendants of the enslaved on people who embrace a Pan-African point of view. Am I correct in what you're saying?
Yeah, I think starting out, like in the early days, it seemed to be, and it's just me. No.
Hey, I think you're actually right. Because I know for a fact that you're actually right. I know that because I was one of those people that did that. And so I'm glad that I get a chance to speak with you. Because I want to first of all say that you're absolutely correct. I'm not going to gaslight you and say that we weren't going in on Pan-Africanists, right? I'm not going to sit here and gaslight you and say that there aren't still ADOS people that go in on Pan-Africanists, right? Here is my issue with Pan-Africanism, but also a solution, all right? Because again, I don't like to give issues without solutions, right? Okay, so my issue as it stands with Pan-Africanism that I have seen is that while I agree with you that we can understand that ultimately white supremacy is global and has to be addressed on a global basis, I do not accept the premise that we who are struggling here at home have necessarily the resources to devote to any type of worldwide attack on white supremacy via the Pan-Africanist route, first of all. And second of all, we cannot be the torchbearers of Pan-Africanism when Africa itself is not united around the philosophy. Those are my particular issues with Pan-Africanism. I do not think that it is not viable. As a matter of fact, I still consistently consider myself Pan-African. A lot of people don't know I embraced Pan-Africanism a long time ago and I've never let it go. However, I am not fool enough to say that I don't have specific critiques of Pan-Africanism, especially as embraced by us here in the United States. As it stands, fam, you and I have been the predominant torchbearers of the philosophy. Everyone who expounds on Pan-Africanism, who makes any degree of success when it comes to Pan-Africanism, always comes and does their work here in America. Because Americans traditionally have been behind Pan-Africanism. But you go other places, it's not quite the same. Even other places in the diaspora, to varying levels, either accept or don't engage with Pan-Africanism, right? So with that in mind, I believe that Pan-Africanism, like charity, needs to start at home. I need to see more emphasis on people like Julius Malema and the EFF. I need to see more of that. Julius Malema will speak on brothers and sisters here in the United States on a humbug. He'll just open up his mouth and he'll be like, we sitting here talking about this and that in South Africa, but you see how they're treating our brothers and sisters. Like, Julius Malema is a boss. I respect the chairman highly. The commander-in-chief, I respect him highly, because that brother understands that ultimately his interest in Africa ties to my interest in the United States, and he acts accordingly. I need to see more of that from Africa before I feel comfortable at that point telling my people, okay, now we've got a basis, a place to stand on a Pan-African structure to now fight not just here in our own homeland, but across the globe for our common identities, our common destiny, if that makes any sense.
It does. And I didn't want to give off the illusion that I'm asking for you to, I guess, kind of explain or defend anything.
No.
My point is
I didn't say
that
you were. I wanted to clarify for you, because you were right. ADOS partisans, of which I used to be one, have attacked Pan-Africans. So I wanted to acknowledge that you were actually 100% right. And I also wanted to give you, because I don't attack things necessarily willy-nilly. I do have reasoning behind why I might go at something. And my reasoning behind my attacks or critiques of Pan-Africanism was precisely that, because I don't see it as being prevalent in the motherland, right, in Africa. And I also don't think we as of yet can afford, here, I'm talking about our people, I don't think we can afford, with our precarious position, to invest much in any effort to combat white supremacy globally. We have to fight it here first, because this is the place where we are on the ground, where we know better, where we can maneuver, right? That's all I'm saying. So that was my critique. But please go on, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go on.
Yeah. So, and thank you. My point in bringing it up is just the fact that in a lot of ways, a lot of the discussion that's happened tonight about, genuine supporters being attacked and maligned, things of that sort, it started with us.
Agreed.
As Pan-Africanists. We didn't do anything against ADOS, as far as I know.
Well, now, I mean, there were, I'll say this. There were people that the average, so a lot of this has to do with personalities. So you're right. Your average, everyday garden variety Pan-African brother and sister, nah, hell no. Y'all have all been cool for the most part. But some of the people that y'all respect and esteem, like Professor Carr and people from Incobra and other organizations and shit, have attacked ADOS, right? So you're right. In the average interaction, no. Pan-Africans, for the most part, once you explain a few things, they go, oh yeah, okay, right, I feel you. And enough's done. But you have these personalities, again, going back and forth, and because of our partisanship and our lionizing of these personalities, rather than cleaving to the ideas and having a combat of ideas, have caused a rift between a lot of people who I think could be brought to a place of agreement. People like Jared Ball, Brother Michael's naming him in the chat, Omawale Africa, and other leaders, right? So you're right. I think that, while we need to, I think my solution of just freezing out these personalities, I think that's going to work across the board to help us seal the breach with our Pan-African brothers and sisters too. I really do. Because I think a lot of this was just led by us going after the people we esteem went after. If you following me.
I do. I'll say I think a lot of the commentary from I forgot who you said. I think Greg Carr and others that came after the fact, like 2 years. I mean, it's been a while since the whole Pan-Africanism is dead thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess my whole point in all of this is, as far as like Pan-Africanism is concerned, is that it was a slippery slope. If you could start there, then it's no reason not to conclude that we could end up at this point where genuine supporters are being attacked and casted out from the hashtag movement.
I
right?
agree. I agree 100%. And if you think about it, it actually tracks with the demise of the hashtag movement. Because, again, when we first came to the fore, who was it that we gave the most smoke to? Our own people, our own tribe. Right. Say whatever you will about Pan-African brothers and sisters, they are still our tribe's people. Why would we extend grace to other groups that we would not extend to them? Right? Now, that's not to say that there aren't valid critiques of Pan-Africanism and that we could not and should not have had discussions about them. But that is to say is that the instantaneous assumption of malice on behalf of Pan-Africanists and assuming right out the gate that they're going to be antithetical to our interests and our justice claim and our push for said, right, made it almost inevitable that we would end up here. Because sure, it was easy to attack the Pan-Africanists because, you know, they differ so much from us. But you keep instituting these purity tests, these purges of various people from the tribe, and pretty soon you end up with hardly nobody.
Exactly.
Again, we need a reboot. We need a reboot. We need to understand that it is perfectly valid to have a Pan-Africanist overarching point of view while still understanding the need to put out the fire where you're standing, right? There is nothing incompatible with embracing and understanding our common shared destiny as children of Africa, right? And still being able to push with everything you have in you for justice for this particular branch of Africans in this particular geographical area.
Dead on. Exactly.
I couldn't agree with you more, brother. And again, first of all, I want to apologize personally for my role in that. As I stated, I am human and I am susceptible to allowing unquestioned assumptions, biases, and all of that to creep in. And I want you now, as somebody who I'm certain is going to continue to watch my work moving forward, if you ever catch me slipping like that, brother, please call me in and knock the burrs off, right? Like iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another one, right? I'm asking you respectfully that when you see me going down that path, straighten me out. Because there is nothing antithetical inherently with having a Pan-African paradigm or Pan-African worldview, and also understanding the need to press home this justice claim here in the United States of America.
Exactly. And that is why I like a lot of, I've watched a few of your shows before, actually. I really do like a lot of the content. Very, very, I don't know the word, but just educational and informed.
That's what I'm here for, fam. You just complimented the shit out of me. Thank you. That's what I'm here for, man. If you can take something from every broadcast I do, I couldn't be more happy. Seriously, that's what I'm here for, man, is just to provide the distillation of what I'm able to observe and to give you something that you can use.
Right. So let me ask really quick.
Please.
I guess I'll go.
No. Ask away, fam.
One thing that's always bothered me a bit is the notion that we finally see ourselves as distinct, or we finally understand that we're a tribe. But if anything, it feels as though there's a resurgence. I mean, we did just come up on 400 years in America, for one. But, I mean, we've had Lift Every Voice. I mean, we're Americans, but we created our own national anthem. But there's this notion that we didn't see ourselves as distinct. And in a lot of ways, I think those kind of talking points are what gives credence to the cult-like thinking, is that it's all brand new. It's never been done before. When honestly, we're standing, as you said, on the shoulders of our ancestors.
True. Now, the reason why I say we're finally, I should probably be more specific and say that this living generation is finally, right?
Okay.
I would agree with you. You know, Frederick Douglass made it clear that we're the most American of Americans. If you read David Walker's appeal, David Walker's appeal said no white man's got a claim of America greater than we do, right? It has been clear all throughout our history that our destiny as the descendants of the enslaved is specifically American. That being said, though, as an Xer, I can look back at my own personal history, fam, and I could say that I went from being relatively kind of loosely political, like my family mentioned stuff like the Black Panthers and things like that. So I had some of that, right? But then when I grew up, you know, in the...
Let me speak on Panafrianism and Civics 860.
Okay. All right. After this call, engage and holler at me. But so then after I grew up, you know what I'm saying, and in the 90s, we kind of engaged with that whole Pan-African thing, you know, wearing our Africa piece, you know, and cross colors gear, you know, in the red, black, and green, and all of this and that, and the third, right? So I would say that, you know, my generation kind of being like probably the most representative in this current push that we're doing, I don't think we necessarily understood our tie to America. You had a combination of mindfuckery that no other generation of American black folk really had to deal with. For example, before my generation, my mother was born during Jim Crow, right? It was clear, right, that white folks, black folks, ne'er twain shall meet, right? But my generation, the Xer generation, I was born in 73, we were the first black people to have any real major non-slavery interaction with white folks. Like most of us went to school with white folks, you know, we watched MTV and shit, you know, back in the day when they had like, you know, Duran and Tears for Fears on. I still listen to what you call white people music today, right? We were one of the first generations of black Americans that had any kind of even modicum of access to white America, right? So that kind of skews your experience a bit, because if you allow it, white folks have an interest in you not looking back too close at history. Not they have an interest in you saying, oh, well, that racism shit was just, you know, that was years ago, that, you know, right? And if you're not careful, you can get caught up in that siren song. But as we have gotten older and had our experience going through the crucible here in the United States, especially having a lot of the lies that we were told as part of Generation X be exposed, and now we're coming to advocacy like this, and we're seeing our essential value as Americans. We, when I say we, I mean specifically kind of us, our generation, are finally understanding the struggle of our ancestors. We're finally getting why they fought so damn hard. We're finally getting what they actually lost in a lot of their battles. We finally got it. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're right. It's nothing new, but it is new relatively to us. And so we're having our moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're looking at this shit like, whoa, you mean this whole time we could have been, you know, doing X, Y, and Z, right? I would ask your forbearance with us, young brother. Let us have our moment and embrace this thing, right? You know what I'm saying? And get ready to do some work, right? We'll get past the newness of it, I would assume, shortly. And then we will just settle in and start doing the needful.
Yeah. Like I say, I mean, I agree we're old. We're exclusively old. I agree on those fronts. And this will be my last point. I'll let whoever else wanted to call in. But I just hope going forward, especially with this newfound energy and understanding, just in terms of the problems with the hashtag movement, that there'll be a bit of trying to mend that fence in terms of Pan-Africanism and, I guess we're going to call it ADOS. But along with that, just the notion of understanding that if we're really talking about issues that have occurred with us, it's not quote unquote white people, it's European immigrants that our ancestors experienced.
Facts.
Coming from Ireland, from Germany, from Poland.
Fam, my last name is perfect example of that. Gillespie is Irish, Scots Irish. That's who own my ancestors. So you absolutely right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just understanding that if we're really going to talk about the data and who holds the wealth and all of these things and who owes us our money, we're talking about European immigrants. It's not Africans. It's not Caribbeans. And I really, if anything should die, it would be the term white. They're not white. They're Europeans. So I tell you what, we got a lot of work to do. We're nowhere near done.
Matter of fact, most of the battles that we have to fight currently is in our own damn heads. That's real talk. We got a lot of ideas that are sacred cows that need to go to the slaughterhouse. And we ain't got much time to do it. So fam, trust me, you here for a ride. Because we got a lot of work to do. And we got a lot of things that we need to jail and get understood so that we're able to march forward in that united front, beholden to none. So, yeah, I'm right there with you, fam.
My man. I appreciate the time.
Hey, I appreciate the call, man. You always welcome, fam. And I thank you for your honesty. Again, I love disagreement because that means that we got an area of growth. You see what I'm saying? So whenever you find me slipping or you think I'm off brand about something, I need to holler at you. You need to call in and let your man know.
No, you've always been good by me.
All right, brother. Hey, I appreciate that, man. And I wish you well as well. Peace. Great call. Yeah, fam, we got, man, look, we got so much work to do. Cause I ain't off, just cause I'm not a part of the hashtag movement, I haven't let go of ideas like lineage therapy. We needs that. We got a whole bunch of garbage in our minds we need to get rid of, fam. Calling from 413, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? It's Double C.
It's Double C's. What's happening, fam? Long time no hear from. What's good?
Hey, what's good, man? Hey, I'm listening to the broadcast, man. Been a long time. But, man, you on fire tonight.
Fam, I'm just, you know me, once I'm inspired, it is what it is.
But I would say this, and I said this on the broadcast a while ago. The first battle, like you said, the first battle we have to fight is internally. And you're right. But like I said, the first white man we need to kill is the one within ourselves first.
Yeah.
Get rid of all that WS ideology.
Yep.
Like that cock will go right to the slaughterhouse.
Yep. You gotta slaughter the white supremacists in you first.
Well, like I said, I was talking to some people, you know, all other cultures, and they never knew what sundown towns were or bucking farms or nothing like that. Mm-hmm. And when they looked it up, and now, mind you, they went to prestigious schools. They said, well, why didn't they ever taught us this? Because if America admits it's wrong, then that's to talk for reparations.
Yep.
For black folks.
Absolutely. If for us to assert our Americanness makes our justice claim undeniable. Undeniable.
And here's the thing. They're white. Now, as long as I don't say ADOS, they heard their whole conversation. Because they assert ADOS, BLM, what's it? Black identity extremists. That's what
yep.
It's programmed as. And to each their own. Believe what you believe. I'm not here to convert anybody. But once I looked that out and said my point, they're like, oh, okay, we're on board. And that's what you have to do.
It's amazing, fam. I'm telling you, I've had this conversation about our justice claim with people from across every ethnic group, every economic idea or paradigm, whether left or right. I've had this conversation with conservatives. I've had this conversation with socialists and communists. And you lay it out and you emphasize the Americanness of it, and it becomes undeniable. It is undeniable. But fam, as soon as you start mentioning ADOS and things like that, shit is so toxic, the conversation just shuts down. It just stops. I've had it happen too many times. And that does not say anything about us or our tribe, our tribe or our connection. But what it says is that the tool that the hashtag could have been used for is no longer useful. It no longer serves us.
And speaking of that hashtag, that was not an original idea. That was not their original idea. ADOS has been a thing for decades. They just made it into a hashtag.
I do remember, studying and reading a bit about the DOAS group and stuff like that, and I think that there's some validity to the people that have said that all Antonio and Yvette did was kind of shift the acronym around to make emphasis on one thing as opposed to another one. And I get it. I mean, in my opinion, it's an argument of semantics, but it does have validity. I would just simply say that none of this is new, even though it's new to many of us, and that we are going to be, if we so choose, the vehicle for not only the healing of our people, but the healing of our nation. Justice to us is long overdue and will be the only thing that makes America great. The only thing. Without justice being done to us, America will never be great. Ever. So, we need to emphasize that. And that's a large enough square for us to stand on, that we don't need to be jumping all over people or disrespecting people or cutting people off and this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be. So, the fact is that I think that we need to just take the words of our beloved sister, Pretty Muslima, who said, just make them irrelevant. Silence is golden. We don't need to have any more discussions on this. I'm not gonna sit here and feed into the hype about, oh, now Mark Black and Tony Yvette beef. No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be sitting here giving anybody any type of ammunition to continue more drama when we got work to do. I've said what I said, and I stand on what I said. I don't apologize for what I said. I mean what I said, and that's it. They always told me, go build whatever you want on your own. We wish you Godspeed. Well, Godspeed to them too. Godspeed with that nice echo chamber that they building. I don't know how effective it's going to be at doing anything, but good luck to them in building it. I'm not here to badmouth them. I don't have to. All we have to do is show our work. All we have to do is just show our people, C's. That's what our people been begging for. The most popular hashtag for us black folk in 2019 was hashtag tangibles. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
We don't want to hear no more rhetoric. We don't give a fuck about what nobody's talking about. I love that about our people at this point. We don't want to hear shit. We don't want to hear shit from Jim Crow Joe. We don't want to hear shit from Kamala. We don't want to hear shit from this person, from that person. Where the tangibles at? Where the check? Where is something we can measure? If you're not talking about getting us to a path to that, we couldn't give a less than a fuck about what you're talking about at this point. You feel me? We need to keep that energy. That's the energy we need to bring with us to 2021. If we're going to do this work, we need to do this work so that our people don't have to ask a bunch of questions. They can see the work. If I tell you about a house, you might be able to imagine the shit, right? I described the foyer and I described the kitchen and this, that, and the third. Okay, cool. But if I build that motherfucker, I don't have to tell you about the house. I just take you on a tour of it.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's going to be the difference. That's going to be the deal breaker and the deal maker. Who's willing to build shit, to put themselves accountable before the people so that people can kick the tires, so that they can look at the kitchen, so that they can analyze the living room. Tangibles did not go away. We want tangibles, but we also want tangibles from our advocates and our so-called leaders too. You've been leading us down a political primrose path with nothing to show for it except hostility everywhere we go. Guess what? You have been weighed, measured, and found wanting. If you did not deliver the tangibles, you don't get to bitch at us because we recognize that and we move forward.
Well, as far as the political leaders goes, they've been marching us into a burning house and a sinking ship. Okay. Another thing, all this argument is low priority.
Yep. Low energy and low priority.
And one more thing, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make any sense.
Fam, we're gonna talk about that shit because we gotta get this economics thing under control. And I think part of that comes from the fact we don't understand how economics really works. And I'm going to talk about it. Because seriously, I'm not saying we're dumb, but we've been sold a bill of goods as to what economics really is. And I'm going to clarify that in my video on economics. Because economics actually means something completely fucking different than what we all believe it means. And when we understand truly what economics is, it is going to change the game, how we operate as a tribe. I promise you, see. When we grasp it, when I bring this information, because I'm going to be bringing it soon. When I bring this information and we finally grasp what economics really is, dude, I'm serious. It's going to be a game changer. If you really grasp what I'm about to lay down, it's going to change the way you see every fucking thing. And that's just the start. So, fam, I appreciate you as always, man. It's always good to hear your voice. I hope you and your family are doing well, Cease. Any last words, fam?
Hey, man, thanks for having me on, man. It's good to actually talk to you again.
Oh, yeah, hell, I finally fixed the whole phone situation. That shit was pissing me off.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here doing a broadcast and I can't even talk to my peoples. What kind of shit is this?
Oh, you know they listen to you, Mark.
Oh, facts. But you know I had to get it squared away. Love you, bro. Take it easy, man.
Love you, man. Check y'all later.
Yeah, fam. We've been sold a bill of goods when it comes to, economics. Hey, brother Michael, good night, man. I'll see you soon. Probably on Twitter, right? Love you, bro. Fam, as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. We've been going hard. There was one other thing that I did want to talk about before I wrap it up, though, right? Shit. You know what? I'm sorry, 317. I'm not going to take that call. Matter of fact, I'm going to kind of wrap it up. And I'm sorry about that. Don't worry. I'll do another broadcast and you'll get a chance to call in. I apologize. But I got to start wrapping it up. I got to make dinner for my family and all this and that and the third, right? But, I want to say this. There recently was a film that came out. Because I don't really talk about entertainment and shit like that all that much, right? First of all, fam, any of you who know me know that as I've embraced this advocacy, I've let a lot of frivolous shit go, right? I don't watch the NFL or football anymore. I don't root for no teams. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I don't care about no entertainment. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-entertainment, right? You don't get bored. You have the right to enjoy your life, play, be ludic. You know what I'm saying? But for me, entertainment is shifted. It's something different. But with that said, there was a movie that came out recently called American Skin, done by Nate Parker, and it's a Spike Lee joint. Now, I watched this movie, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who still wants to watch it. But fam, this movie is nothing like what you might have thought it was going to be, right? How many of you are familiar with David Banner, the rapper? Specifically, how many of you are familiar with David Banner's Black Fist? Pop a one in the chat if you're familiar with that joint. I know you are, Cease. Right? You know what I'm saying? If you're familiar with that, thank you. I love David Banner. That brother go hard, right? Love me some David Banner. Okay. So y'all know that song, that video that he did was 100% on point. Like, that video was no joke. If you have not seen that video, do yourself a favor. When this broadcast is over, go on YouTube, look up David Banner's Black Fist, and watch that video. I was thinking, and I'm certain that many of you, after having watched the trailer, the preview, were thinking that, shit, are we about to see some old David Banner Black Fist shit? I know I was, right? When you look at the trailer for American Skin, you got Nate Parker standing there with body armor on, holding the AR. You know what I'm saying? You got cops and, you know, in flex cuffs and this, that, the third. Fam, all I'm going to say is this. If All Lives Matter was a movie, it would be American Skin. Seriously. If you haven't yet watched it, save your money. If you trust my judgment, save your money. It's not worth it. It is absolutely not worth it. Imagine a scenario where all the same racist tropes and arguments brought up to justify the murders of our people at the hands of law enforcement and regular American, white American citizens and shit. Imagine all of that getting airplay. Imagine a joint where the only blood shed through the whole movie is black blood. I ain't gonna give y'all much more than that. But is that something that you thought from the trailer you'd be seeing? Right? You got Nate Parker standing up there in the window with that AR, shades of El Hajj El Malik El Shabazz, you know, also known as Malcolm X, right? Was that what you thought you were gonna see in this movie? Because I'm telling you, that's what's in it. The only blood shed in that whole movie, a movie about injustice, about trauma, about the worst trauma any black American could ever experience. The loss of your child at the hands of law enforcement, your 14-year-old boy. And you got Latino white supremacists, white supremacists, black white supremacists, all getting to have they say, all getting to make their arguments such as they are. Was that what you wanted to pay for? Because if so, the movie's available on various streaming platforms, etc. Go right ahead. But if you thought that you were going to get a movie where you actually see justice instead of trauma, where you actually see engagement with justice instead of pain, save your money. Not worth it. Absolutely not worth it. And here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't a huge fan of The Birth of a Nation. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I didn't think it was that good. Especially in light of how our esteemed ancestors' brothers, Nat Turner's story could have been told. Right? A lot of trauma. Really light on the justice. If you know what I'm saying. Right? Seriously. When I watched Birth of a Nation, the story of one of our greatest leaders of an uprising in this country, I expected to walk out that motherfucker feeling like I did when I saw Killmonger in Black Panther. Instead, I was like, what the hell is this? So, Nate had already got caught slipping at the birth of a nation. But I'm going to be truly honest with y'all, fam. Him and Spike Lee, man, that's a combination that I don't think anybody's ready for. Facts, Double C said, if you were thinking you're going to be seeing a Nuncy, don't save your money. Anansi is not in the building. I promise you, fam. I promise you. If you watch American Skin, Anansi is nowhere to be found. There is no justice. It's you know what? But see, fam, that's because I'm forgiven. I keep giving motherfuckers opportunities to disappoint me. Never again, Nate Parker. If you ever watch this video, I'm here to tell you, I have watched your last joint. You could put out a movie tomorrow about Frederick Douglass, and I won't trust you not to fuck it up. You had one job, Nate, one job. After showing the most traumatic experience any black American could ever fucking face in life, to give us justice, to show us justice. You talked a good game. I remember in the trailer when he said, why is it that black people the only ones that ever got to do anything without violence? You talked a good game. But man, I'm here to tell my people to not play themselves, so you don't play us. I'm done with Nate Parker and his fake wokeness. His ersatz performative wokeness. Yep, Nate trying to straddle the fence. Nate trying to appeal to white folks and black folks. And he gonna fail at both. Because white folks ain't gonna sit there and watch 2 hours of people making white supremacist arguments because they want to pretend they're not white supremacists. So you lose the white folks. And you lose the black folks because after showing us the height of injustice and trauma that any black American can face, there's no production of justice. So, fam, my movie review, short though it is, and spoiler free as it is, save your money. Not worth it. Fuck Nate Parker. Fuck Spike Lee. It's a conspiracy. It's a combination I can't ride with. I can't fuck with it. Hey fam, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. Good night, Pretty Muslima. Glad to have you back, sister. I hope you come back again. Family, I want to thank all of you. Wow, we burnt it today. And I want to say that I appreciate y'all. Okay, I will, sister. Same number? Nothing's changed, right? Because I still got you. But yeah, fam, that video on economics, good. Okay, that video on economics will be coming this week. And like I said, I want to bring solutions. I don't have all the answers, but I have some answers. And I intend to bring that to you and let you engage using your discernment, using a cogent analysis to see whether or not it's something that we can ride with, right? So fam, with that said, thank you all. Be safe out there, right? Fuck personalities. Do the work. Personalities come and go. Beef come and go. It's time for a reboot. We're done with that shit. We got work to do. 2021 can be our year. But we're going to have to work to make it our year. All right? So fam, with that, I want to say I love you all. Peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.